listening to Vitamin Geek.
Vitamin Geek.
Vitamin Geek. Vitamin Geek.
You are totally listening to Vitamin Geek.
You are listening to Vitamin Geek.
You're listening to Vitamin Geek.
Vitamin Geek Podcast.
What the hell's the name of the show again? Vitamin Geek.
Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, August 8th, and you are listening to the Vitamin Geek Podcast. Tonight, thank you, is episode 28. We're going to talk about the world's greatest villains in all forms of media. So it should be a very interesting top 3 list for you guys. I'm your host, Corey Keelan, and joining me this evening is Mr. Brandon Posey.
I wanted this to be professional, efficient, adult, cooperative. Not a lot to ask. Alas, your Mr. Takagi did not see it that way, so he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. Now, we can go any way you want it. You can walk out of here or be carried out. But have no illusions. We are in charge. So decide now, each of you. And please remember, we have left nothing to chance.
Hans Gruber?
Yeah, I'm not German, though, but yeah.
Oh, very nice. And let me say, that is a long-ass quote.
Yep. Well, it's a villain. Villain
very
quote.
Good.
Come on. Theme.
Yeah, I like it. All right. The one, the only, the Eric Williams.
Hello, everyone.
I love you, Eric.
Here.
The white spy to my black spy, Patrick Sykes.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
And the one who does shuffle every day, Brian Wallace.
Funbetweenthebuns.com. Go there. It's not a porn site. Go there.
Famous last words. It's not a porn site.
Between the buns.
Just between the buns.com. All right. Well, we're going to talk about villains tonight, but first I want to give a big old shout out to our good friends and sponsors at the Anime Blast Chattanooga convention. That is coming up November 8th through the 10th. And you can get your tickets now at animeblastchattanooga.com. You can also go there and check out all the cool guests they've got coming. We got one of the Power Rangers, who is Johnny Young Bosch. I believe he's the second Black Ranger. You will note that he's not black. And he's bringing his band, iShine.
Also not a ranger.
It's also not a ranger. Wait, what?
I don't know.
Not anymore. He's a
not
rocker.
black or a ranger.
So it's false advertising all around, but from what we hear, he's super nice. So can't wait to talk to him. But yeah, big shout out to those guys, Zippy especially over there at Anime Blast Chattanooga, always helping us out and trying to push the cause of Vitamin Geek forward out into the world. AnimeBlastChattanooga.com. Go get those tickets now. But a very special thing we're doing tonight is they've been so generous as to donate 2 tickets for us to give away. And I have some names in a little cup here. These are people who have shared our post and like our fan page. So they have joined in this giveaway for
what are
2
the values
free tickets.
Of those tickets, Corey?
I believe they're $30 a piece.
Wow.
So that's really cool, man. $60 coming to somebody right
name
now.
In the cup?
So, employees of Vitamin Geek Podcast are not eligible. Even though you're not really employed and I don't pay you. So, okay, without further ado, I'm going to draw a name here.
You have a drum roll sound
clip? Yeah, Posey does one. He drums on his desk.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. All right, I'm going to blindly reach down into the stein and grab a random name. And we're going to see who's the lucky winner here.
Like barking.
All right, I got the name here. Here we go. Amanda Torres.
Oh,
Amanda Torres.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Amanda. You have won 2 free tickets.
Amanda, I'll go with you if you have nobody to go with. So just give me a tweet.
Brian, we're going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Amanda, I'll contact you on Facebook, and we'll get your email address and stuff and get you signed up to get those free tickets. And Zippy will contact you with the info. So Look forward to seeing you at the con in November.
Dress up.
Amanda Torres, congratulations. All right. First up on our program, now that we've done the fun stuff, we're going to get to the boring, dull things. There's a little segment called the VG News, and someone on the show is going to tell you some news. So
Here, I'll say
guys.
the tagline, then I'll give it off. For all this VG News, for all things cool and the stuff you care about, this is Brandon Posey taking over tonight. Thank you.
All right, taking over tonight.
Get him, Posey.
Right, so, I used to think that Bruce Willis was a really nice guy. I like a lot of his movies, but something he's done the past couple of weeks have made him kind of a dick. He recently
did Expendables 3.
That's one of them. So he recently did an interview with chick from Weeds. What's her name?
Mary Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Parker.
who's in Red 2 with him, or RED 2, depending on who you ask. And he did this interview in France and made the interviewer very uncomfortable with his jokes and you'd have to watch it because it's just really awkward. I would hate to be the guy doing the interview because it made me awkward watching it for the guy. And then most recently, this is the Expendables 3. He's doing a 4-day cameo in this movie. They're going to pay him $3 million. He said, "No, I want $4 million. $1 million a day." And they said, "You know what? Go F yourself. We're going to get Harrison Ford instead." And they got Harrison Ford instead. So, yeah.
So what do you do in the interview?
It wasn't like, I don't know, he was just asking questions.
And he was like his Paul character from Friends.
Yeah, he would just be like, this is a fun part, isn't it? Like being really sarcastic, not really answering the questions. I don't know. It's hard to describe. You'd have to watch it. My wife is watching
There's
football.
a party going on.
Dude, she is hype.
What is she watching?
Titans. She's watching the Titans play.
All right.
Anyway, that's one thing. Another thing that's been going around, they've kind of, depending on who you ask, there are two actors right now who are vying for the role of Lex Luthor in the new Batman versus Superman movie. One being Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad and Malcolm in the Middle, and the other being Mark Strong. And
who is apparently very strong.
Right. Well, that's his name. He is strong. But now Mark Strong hints that he's already gotten the role, but whatevs. So there's that news for you.
I saw his face on a poster on the internet. That's got to be official.
Yeah, I think it's not though. I also heard that what's the guy who played the comedian?
That would be Patrick Brian. Who's the dad on Supernatural?
That's Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
There you go.
There you go.
Right. I heard that he is actually. He was going to be Batman.
Whoa!
No way.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Yeah. It says it's just an article. Watchmen's Jeffrey Dean Morgan rumored for Batman in Batman versus Superman. So,
This is like the first thing I've heard about this movie at all that's made me go, "Hey, that's a good idea."
Yeah, actually, and I like it too. I don't know why we didn't think of him during our fan casting. He'd be a good one.
I don't know.
Let's see. Bill and Ted 3. The script is being rewritten. This comes from actor Keanu Reeves. He appeared on TV yesterday and said that they are going to do a third Bill and Ted movie. And you know what? I am actually excited about that because I like Bill and Ted. Even though it's a horrible movie, it's one of those fun movies to watch.
It's a feel-good movie.
I mean, both of them. I like both of them, but I know the second one's kind of like all sequels to comedies, kind of yay. But let's see.
that all you got?
Well, and obviously there's the whole Marvel announced this week they have plans on movies up until 2021, which sounds a bit presumptuous, but whatevs. And then apparently there's a Gotham or a Gotham PD TV series to be in the works as well. So,
I'd like to see that.
That could be really cool.
They've been talking about that for a
Oh,
while.
Patrick, did you see that I'm sure Posey saw this too, where the actor that plays the medic on Star Trek, I can't remember his name right now, refuses to ever do Star Wars?
Oh yeah. Which was cool.
Yeah.
And his reasoning was he doesn't want fans to be like, oh yeah, that's the guy who's in Star Trek. Yeah.
McCoy, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's what the hell's his name? It's like really cool. Carl Urban.
Yeah. If no one's there
Dude,
already said so, I love it though. If no one's already said so, and I apologize if it's a repeat, I'm positive I read the other day that due to fans demanding the studio make a sequel, they are going forward with the Dread sequel. Like they're going to start working on the script.
Yeah.
Did you say doo-doo fans?
Due to the fans' influence and reaction and whatnot.
That's not just the fans. Also, the creators of Judge Dredd, the comic book series, have backed the petition to proceed with the sequel.
Good deal.
Dude, that movie was so freaking
Hawkins
good.
finally saw it. He was telling me about it.
Bombed in the theaters though, but when it came to DVD, it slowly turned into a cult hit. So it's I think over 300 million it made and DVD sales.
Can I have a spoiler? Do we ever see him without his helmet?
No.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Better not.
That's the deal. I mean, I don't think they've even shown him without the helmet in the comics, and if they have, it's like it's the back of his head, or it's extremely vague if they've ever even shown that. Last I read, he was supposed to have cancer.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see. And then I've got another news bit for fans of Kick-Ass 2, which I am one of. They have a viral campaign going right now, and it's basically the villains just saying like "F this movie, F Kick-Ass." It's kind of funny. But yeah, you can check that out on their website as well. The film is due out next Friday, and I shall be seeing it.
I still need to see the first one all the way through.
So,
hey, speaking of Kick-Ass, did you hear the rumor about the guy that plays Kick-Ass?
I did. I heard he wants to be in the Avengers.
Yeah, he's being considered for Quicksilver, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I did hear that. Which, either way, I don't really care.
Kind of surprised they'd pull someone out and kind of do a crossover like that. That's kind of neat if it does happen, though.
Yeah, but Kick-Ass.
What do you mean a crossover?
I mean, like, not necessarily a crossover in terms of character, but in terms of actor playing another part in another film like that, another superhero.
Oh, you mean like Chris Evans playing 3 different combo characters?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's the third one?
He was
The Losers.
well, four then.
Wow.
He was in Scott.
He was
Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
he was the dickhead on the
Yep,
skateboard.
he was.
I forgot about that. I can't remember his name in The Losers, but he was pretty good in that too.
I
But,
liked him.
Man, watch Captain America and then watch The Losers, then watch Captain America, and look, the dude freaking doubled in size.
He
Yep.
did.
He's on that rock diet.
Hey, he technically did in the middle of Captain America, too. Ba-doom boom.
And you're done. You're done.
Oh.
What's in the middle of?
Because he gets
Never
in the
mind. Go
machine
ahead.
and he
Let's-
becomes big, you know?
Oh, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So we got to move on. I don't know what just happened. But we're gonna
Easy
move
joke.
on. Anybody got any more news? Oh, one bit of news. Eric mentioned this before the show started. Very sad for those of us who are just big horror geeks. Karen Black
Yeah.
passed away today.
74, wasn't it?
Hey,
Her age? I'm not 100% sure. But you guys might remember her as being Mama Firefly in the House of a Thousand Corpses. She was not the character in Devil's Rejects. That was the chick from frickin' Police
She's
Academy.
also in a Trilogy of Terror.
Big boobs. Yeah, Trilogy of Terror. She's also in Burnt Offerings, which is a really killer haunted house movie. If you guys haven't seen it, that's really cool.
That is sad, but I know you got to move on. 30 seconds or less, because Eric left us hanging last week with the Doctor Who thing, and I know we know who it is, but tell us just real quick your opinion who it is.
Tell us your opinion of who it is.
Doctor Who, the 12th Doctor.
It's like Tony Pepperoni or something like that. I forgot his name.
What's your opinion? I wanted to get his opinion, because just in case people listen and they don't really follow the news, because he was talking about how it was going to be revealed last.
Eric did not like me calling him Tony Pepperoni. He just dropped.
Really? He dropped?
I think my first opinion of the guy when I saw his picture, I was like, this guy looks like kind of an older David Tennant, which, David Tennant's pretty much the most popular Doctor that's ever been on the show. So I think it's a good move just from aesthetically. I don't know anything the guy's been in, but apparently he's like a pretty big deal in England.
He looks like he's an amalgam of all the previous, the last 3 or 4 Doctors.
You're an amalgam.
Blended together. I think it's a really good pick, just visually speaking.
Which we've got to get Eric back in here to talk about this. But how cool is that though? That he looks, so much like all the other Doctors, and from what I hear, he's a good pick for the job. Eric, what do you think of Tony Pepperoni, the 12th Doctor?
Tony Pepperoni?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Eric,
his name.
what I was saying is
Peter Gabaldon.
You left us off. You left us off last week with the anticipation of the 12th Doctor, and I wanted to get your opinion really quick, just in case somebody didn't follow the news and they listen to the show. Just what you think.
I'm actually very excited for it. I'm looking at him, and he's a really fine actor. A lot of people are. There's a cycle that goes when any new Doctor is coined. It's pretty much it starts off. The Doctor has his regeneration, he changes, and then everybody starts. There's no way that he's going to replace whatever the previous Doctor was. And then a few months, he's the best Doctor ever. And then when it's time for him to leave, it's like, he's okay, I guess. And then it just, excuse me. He's gonna be fine. He's a fine actor. I look forward to it.
He's fine. I heard that he is a big character actor, and that he may actually only be on the show for 1 season.
No, I'm not sure.
Well,
but can he make a pizza?
How are you saying that's not true? All of a sudden, do you know something that no one else knows?
Yes, he signed a contract for 3 years.
Well,
that's a Tony
contracts
Pepperoni.
can be broken.
Anybody see the preview? Anybody see the preview for Face Off for next Tuesday?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in my What's Up With You, but we can talk about that shit right now because I popped a boner because that's my favorite show.
I didn't go that far.
Family show.
Okay.
Brian, stop. It's not Family Show anymore. It's if you don't care if your kids hear the word shit or titties, then it's fine.
Yeah, dude. Chill. Chill.
All right. So we sat down to watch the Face Off. We thought it was an episode, but it was a 2-hour preview for the season that starts actually next Tuesday.
Preview is 2 hours?
Yeah.
2 hours. And I thought, okay, so maybe the first hour. And if anybody doesn't know, this year is going to be different. They're going to do 8 veterans that have been on the show and done pretty well against 8 newbies that have never been on the show. So what I thought they were going to do is maybe do the first hour kind of recapping the vets and then do the second hour about the noobs. But it was 2 hours about the vets that you've already seen on different seasons of the show.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, it was kind of neat because we get to see, what they've been doing since it's I know this is bringing up a girl thing, but Nikki used to watch America's Top Model, and the thing was they would win, like a girl would win that whole contest. You never hear from them again, or they would go off and maybe do one job. These guys have been actually working their tuchuses off, you saw Corey, they're either directing the movie, they're working with V on big name projects. I mean, they're really advancing. The veterans are really trying to advance their craft. So when they come back this season, they're going to kick these little newbies' asses all over the place. I mean, it's going to be freaking intense. If nobody's ever watched this show before, you got to. I'm serious. It's awesome. If you've never watched this show, it's a nail biter when you see what they've got to come up with in just 3 days. I mean, they have to conceive it, they have to build it, then they have to get it ready for the judges to see. And I mean, it's brutal, absolutely brutal stuff.
Dude, I've been collecting masks for, I don't know what, 7 years. Most of the people that make these really high detail, high quality masks take like months to sculpt them, not 3 days. The quality that comes out of the work on this show is insane. Mm-hmm. And Susan and I were both talking about it after watching the preview. And we were like, the noobs are going to get their shit rocked, dude. Because, like, at least 2 or 3 of these have been to the top 3, like the finale on their season.
And the noobs are, like, fresh out of school.
Yeah, and that's part of what the hosts or the judges were saying is that the noobs are going to be hungry. So that's what I'm really wanting to see is kind of the balance of wisdom to, like, animal fierceness. You know what I'm saying? Like... Because it's going to be a great season.
One of the biggest killers on the show that really takes out a contestant, the time and time again, is time management. If they don't manage their time, if they try to build, like, the judges really seem to want a really amazing prosthetic makeup, but not always a huge construct. You know, like really huge build up of different kind of like props or parts on top of the model wearing maybe just some prosthetics on their face. They really want to see an amazing sculpt, paint job applied, all the seams worked, in, and, they can't tell where the seam starts for the skin, where the skin really begins, all that stuff. I mean, they really, it's just amazing how that time management can just really kill a design where they just can't even get it painted right. Or they can't get the appliances laid down, well enough and blended, and then it just looks like total crap when they get up there on stage. I mean, it's unbelievable. I just could not fathom how hard they work to do all that. I mean, it's like they're just going nonstop.
It's mind-boggling, dude. I'm really stoked for the new season, and most of the people they brought back, with the exception of Alana, who I can't
Redhead?
stand. Dude, she does not know her ass from a hole in the ground. She has no clue. Like, during her season, she had to have everyone help her every challenge.
She kept cutting herself all the time or burning herself or doing something. I mean, I love how the only thing she said that was kind of cool was I lost a pint of blood doing that show. I'm like, just because.
Yeah, and I talk like the ass.
Because you're stupid.
Yeah, she's bad. Okay, enough about Face Off. It's exciting, though. Next week, we'll talk about the first episode. But I wanted to bring this up, and I forgot. There's a new show coming on after Face Off's premiere next week, and that is Heroes of Cosplay. I know there's been a shitstorm on Facebook of people who are kind of like, oh, this show is going to bring cosplay down to the muck and the nasty, corporate bullshit. I wanted to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on what do you think about Heroes of Cosplay, and are you looking forward to it or no, or what do y'all think? Well, how about Eric? Give us your opinion, buddy.
It's going to turn into a reality show based on 1 or 2 cosplayers. Probably won't even last 8 episodes tops.
I think the list of cosplayers is already like 8 people, though.
What network is this on, by the way?
Sci-Fi.
Won't last.
It's gonna come on immediately after Face Off next week.
Is it going to be an hour or a half hour?
An hour. It's 10:30 to 11:30, so you got a DVR.
Dude, anything's better than that Pitch Black show with Urkel.
Dude, I watched the hell out of that show.
That's such crap.
It's bad, but it's fun. It's a fun show.
What a stupid show.
All right, so Eric, you don't like it. You think it's a bad thing. You don't think it could possibly bring cosplay into a wider scope, which is good for the hobby?
It probably won't be, because most people in the mainstream don't understand stuff like that. There's a recent article that was written, I believe the New York Huffington Post, I believe that's what it was. But I
thought it was New York Times.
You can tell the writer just has no idea what cosplay really is. I mean, a lot of people are trolling social media, are really worried about it after reading this guy's. Some people are butthurt about it. Some people still understand. But you can just look at this guy's article. I don't really know the title of it. Just go to that particular paper and search cosplay. It should pop up pretty soon.
Wasn't it like Just Because or something
it's
like
centered,
that?
It's centered on the new TV show, but you can just tell the guy's very ignorant, and he don't understand a lot of things going on. And the TV show, like I said, it will turn into a reality show, and if there's no drama, it's not going to last. I mean,
Well, you have to have drama. I mean, every Face Off has drama.
They brought back the pain in the butt from the first season. You know, forgot his. They brought Frank back from the first season, and he was a total wank in the first season. He was the last three challenges,
drama,
and he was out.
You know that's for drama.
Well, he's claiming he's cleaned his act up, you know, and everything like that. But I mean, come on, if there's no drama with somebody being a wank on the show, then it just ain't gonna have any appeal.
But it's not supposed to be a competition, right? It's just they're just gonna follow people around, kind of like MTV's True Life.
Yeah, I think the cosplay thing is more or less like each episode's going to be like a little mini documentary about a particular cosplayer.
I think they should spend more money on original programming and original ideas and get away from the reality television. That's my personal opinion.
I'm just excited that they're doing something besides Sharknado.
You see that played at the movie theater here?
I'm sick to death of that shit. No, I'm not supporting it.
And Sci-Fi Channel by itself, dude, it's went down the tubes the past 10 years or so.
Real talk, though, I'm going to check the show out. I'm going to give it an honest, chance. I think it could be a good thing. I'm going to hold out my judgment until I've actually seen it. But we will find that out next week on Vitamin Geek. Who likes that rhyme? Up next... We don't have a fancy sound effect, but what we do have is a Sleepy Merce. And what that Sleepy Merce does is find you guys a kick-ass Kickstarter of the week. Here's Brandon Posey with the Vitamin Geek Kickstarter of the week.
Yay for me.
That was a hell of an intro, dude.
That was.
I rocked
that
it.
was something else. You should record that and then just play it every time. Or just...
It's
I meant
recorded.
like make it a... I don't know, shut up.
Dude, I got you.
So this week, I actually had a game this week. It was called Privateer. It was a pirate board game. It looked really fun. The guys on it, they still had like 25 days left for this thing to go. They only needed $3,500, something like that. $3,500 left. And they decided, because of some feedback from some supporters, just to go ahead and cancel and start over. So I was kind of upset with that because I was kind of looking forward to that, because it looked really cool. So I kind of went and found something else, and this one I found is called Badass Spades and Grenades. On Kickstarter, there are a ton of themed playing card sets. Just like you put in bicycle playing cards, and you'll get back a list of, I have one I've got called Elves and Orcs. I've got one called the Zombies. Just what they're all artists who kind of take this and go with it. And they're all usually really cool decks of cards. And once they're complete, you really can't find them anywhere. I think me and Eric were at Dice Head Games about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe more. And there was actually a deck of cards there called 8-Bit, which was a Kickstarter, and they had them, and they were wanting like $15 for it. I got it for 10 because the guy wanted to get them out of there. But they're really kind of cool. But this one is called Badass Spades and Grenades. The premise behind it is, there's no use in making up fairy tale heroes and shit when there's a ton of already awesome people in history that you can put on these cards. So it has people like William the Conqueror, George Washington, Anne Bonny, Genghis Khan, Vlad the Impaler. I mean, just a ton of different people. Blackbeard, John Paul Jones, Napoleon, Hannibal. Not Hannibal Lecter, but Hannibal, the guy who ran around the mountain going to fight Rome. So So, but the artwork on these cards is really, really amazing. That's kind of one of the reasons that kind of drew me into it, because the art is really cool for playing cards. So, and they just met a what do you call it? A stretch goal to where they can now have the full color art on all of their cards, not just the face cards. So, definitely check it out. The only problem now is, to get a deck of the cards, it has to be $14. If you want 2 decks, though, it's only $22. So it's kind of a little bit of a break if you buy 2 of them. They've already been funded. You're going to get it, and it looks like they're going to be shipping out in December of this year. So check that out. That's Badass Spades and Grenades. It'll go up on our site, and that is this week's Kickstarter from Vitamin Geek.
Thank you, Posey. Sounds really, really cool. So everybody go check that out, man. We dig the board games and card games around here, and it's a really cool, thing to get into. I mean, we all love video games too, but it's really cool just to sit around a table and pick fights with your buddies, playing Munchkin or Last Night on Earth, or pretty much anything that Flying Frog puts their stamp on is good shit.
Speaking of that, I started a blog this week, and the first article is about that. So check it out.
Check it out, folks. We will. There will be a link to Posey's blog on the main Vitamin Geek page. I'll get that put up here later when we get a second. But next we have yet another quality segment for you guys, and I meant to put together something to bring it on, but I didn't have time. So here you go. Patrick's preview.
What's up, guys? For all the stuff you want but just can't get it fast enough. Nice little treat here that I found.
Oh, hold on one second. I'm pretty sure that's the only time not 2 weeks in a row, but 2 shows in a row that you've done the same line.
Groovy.
It's a tag.
Yeah.
Go for it. Sorry.
You're cool. A little something here from Mr. Posey. It's SH. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Figu Arts. Also, I guess Tamashi Nations are making Power Ranger figures through Bandai Design Technology, and it is I gotta say, like I said, I'm not a Power Rangers fan, but the articulation on these figures is pretty freaking awesome. You can get just about any pose you can think of that the characters did on the show through these figures. They're not going to be cheap, though. That's the only thing. They're going to run you, like the Pink Ranger is going to run you $39.99. The Armored Red Ranger and the other male characters are going to run you around $44.99. And those are going to come, let's see. You got the Green Ranger due July of this year. And there's going to be a new one every month. You got, let's see, July, August is the Red Ranger. September, you got the White Ranger. And then November, you got the Pink Ranger. And you got the Armored Red Ranger by December.
Hey, you realize that it's August, right?
Yes, I do.
You said it's due in July.
Yeah, the first one was supposed to be due out in July.
Okay, just clarifying.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And, of course, you got the Dark Horse comics coming. Of course, you got Star Wars number 10. And that series I'm still reading has not disappointed. For anyone who's not been keeping up, you've got the Forever Evil series coming out for DC, and it is all about the villains. So if you're a huge villains fan, this is looking like it's going to be pretty awesome. You're going to have lots of variant covers. You're going to have 4 variant covers, one of them being a director's cut, which essentially is just going to be the penciled cover that's not been inked, colored, anything of that nature. But you're also going to have a Forever Evil Arkham War number 1. So all of the Arkham villains are going to get out. Like, Forever Evil is going to have all the DC villains. But when you get to Arkham, of course, it's going to be all of the Arkham Asylum villains breaking out and wreaking havoc. And those are all due beginning of October. And we'll run you through October, that whole series, which will span several different books. You're looking at about 4 or 5 different books. And then, of course, it will all bleed over into issues such as Justice League, which has 1, 2, 3. 3 has 3 books. So it'll bleed over into that title as well.
Quick note about the villains. There's 52 books.
Yep.
and they're compiling them all into one hardcover omnibus, which I'm sure will be like amazing to look at. It's retailing for $150.
Wow.
But I think Amazon has it for pre-order for $99 or like $100.
Gotta
right
love
now.
those people. And also there's Damien, Son of Batman, #1, coming October 30th. And that'll be Damian Wayne, son of Batman, has adopted the cape and cowl as his own, but what horrific event set this troubled hero on the path of his dark destiny? We will have to read the book and find out. As well as Superman Unchained #4, which is also, if no one has been reading this, shaping up to be a really good miniseries. That's 32 pages, due October 9th. And that's basically Superman calling in help to fight this new villain called Ascension. It's Ascension's attack and kicks off a huge battle with some new character called the Wraith. So he's going to be calling in, it sounds like he's going to be calling in the Justice League to help him out with that. And then, of course, you've got Batman #24, which is Zero Year, which, if no one's been reading that and you're a huge fan of the Nolan Batman universe, you need to be picking these up and you need to be reading them, because I'll be quite honest, I have not been excited to read a lot of comics until the last year or two, and this is one of the titles that really keeps me coming back for more. It's just really well drawn, really well written, and I highly recommend it. And yes, even the Batman 66 titles are actually pretty cool. You can really tell that these guys really enjoyed watching the series, watching the television series, and it's just fun. If you like just not having your Batman really dark, you just like having him fun, then that's what you want. I mean, it's just like the TV show. It's just good, wholesome fun. And last but not least, for those Jim Lee fans, you got a new Batman bust coming out that's patterned after the new 52 design. That'll be $50 on sale January of 2014. And let's see, where was that last one?
They should have just made it $52.
Yeah, just to be funny. And we mentioned earlier in previous podcasts that DC's got a Bombshell line. It's patterned after the 1940s pinups. It's all the female characters, and the newest one is coming out January 2014, and that is the Batgirl statue, which looks pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Silk Spectre from Watchmen a little bit, the way it's sculpted and done. That'll be $124.95.
What generation is it?
What do you mean,
Pat?
What's up?
What is it old school, or what generation of Batgirl is it?
Well, it's like I said, it's patterned after the 1940s style pinups. So like she's wearing like those old pullover like leather type helmet things that they wore when they were in the planes in the 40s with the big thick goggles on. Wearing a breastplate style of kind of like corset kind of thing, with lace up boots. I mean, it's got the purple, yellow, black all mixed in with it, a little brown. So I mean, it's got that pinup quality to it. You should check it out. It's going to be at the DC's website for their direct line. And
DC Direct, okay.
Yeah. So, and as far as that goes, that will wrap up previews for this week's folks.
All right, awesome, man. Thank you, Patrick. Awesome stuff as usual. That Batgirl sounds freaking amazing. I'll have to check it out later. Up next, folks, I think I hear a distant murmur. What could it be? It's the VG Vault featuring Eric Williams.
Really need a better door sound.
I love it.
That's what you get for making fun of my dough.
I get what?
Shotgun to the dome.
Anyway.
How about this?
Hi, Eric. What's your vault on this week?
Guillotine.
My vault is actually a TV series, and a fairly new one too. It's also part of what I've been up to this week. Picked up the TV series Falling Skies, which anybody else watched it all? Okay, so Brandon Brown's
yeah, I've seen all of it.
Not me, dog.
Well, don't tell me anything, Brandon.
I'm up to date on all of it.
I've been power streaming it this week, and actually I've decided that's gonna be my pick because for the longest, ever since season 1, everybody told me I wouldn't like it, wouldn't enjoy it. I've heard many review people, and I'm one person who don't really listen to reviews because Most of them are full
Yeah.
of crap. Anyway, but too many TV series to keep up with, so I finally got a chance to sit down to it. So I've been power streaming through season 1 and 2. So Falling Skies, which airs on TNT, and this show really is starting to become one of my favorite TV shows. It's quite apparent in the first season of the show that it was very financially restrained. I mean, most TV shows now, it just seems networks want to see how the show can pull ratings in
that's what I was
before they put a ton of
gonna
money. And
the first season, the special effects are awful.
Yeah.
Compared to the later season.
Well, I guess it says they were forced to deal with mediocre that amount of money spent on for special effects. A lot of the episodes, the first season alone, they have made tons of dialogue, little action, kind of like the entire season 2 of Walking Dead. There are a couple moments where you might want to roll your eyes, even though there has been an episode that I haven't thoroughly enjoyed. Even though bad special effects, Brian, did you actually like the first season?
No, I love the first season. I always tell people, because they always critique it, and they say, it's just a bunch of talking with some crappy aliens. And I say, just hang through it and deal with those special effects. I know they're kind of rough, and they're shooting aliens in the first episode. You're just like, God, I'm not going to like this show. And then I'm telling you, this show is like Walking Dead in its glory, in a way.
Yeah, Walking Dead with aliens, basically. But the difference in special effects between the first and second season, there's a dramatic and instantly noticeable. But I was really impressed with the new season 3 premiere. Now I'm not all the way through season 3. I'm about halfway through. But so the third premiere that time, it looked like a big box office blockbuster movie almost. And now it finally
and I'll just say this: the aliens the aliens not all CG anymore. You notice it's like costumes.
It's a lot of practical effects
So
being
that's
pushed
awesome.
in there. I mean, most TV shows start off great and become stale over time. At the show starting, all the good writing is at the beginning of the series to capture the audience, and this really isn't the case. I think most of the fan base now would agree that, and the show has gotten better and better with each following season. The actors' development, each actor has great chemistry, and they've really grown into their roles. And some of the point where some of the actors' characters that I really didn't like in the beginning of the first season, as each episode spread, I've grown their characters' development has been increased, and I've been more impressed with the way they have how they kind of grown on me. But as a
I bet you're talking about Pope, aren't you?
Yeah, who's apparently the MacGyver of the post-apocalyptic world. He's a chef, criminal, mechanic, bomb technician, whatever, dude. But I like his character, even though he's getting kind of screwed everybody. Seriously, dude, he makes bullets out of scrap metal. I can build a bomb. I can make the best zucchini ever. It's like, what? Anyway, is his name Poe or Pope?
It's Pope, John Pope, and you know that his hair is not really long. He's wearing a wig.
It's not?
Well, I mean, the show, you assume for the show he has long hair, but like in real life he has short hair.
He's wearing a wig the whole time?
Yeah, can you believe that?
That's where most of the money went the first season, I guess, because I thought those was real hair. But anyway.
So does that blonde chick on Game of Thrones, just not to be ADD, but I learned that the other day.
What blonde chick? There's quite a few blondes on Game of Thrones.
The Khaleesi, the dragon queen.
Oh, yeah.
Her hair.
The dragon lady. Queen of Dragons or whatever. But that's my pick this week.
Sorry.
That's my pick this week is Fallen Skies. If you haven't given it a chance, I highly recommend you sit down and give it a chance. I'm really enjoying it now.
It's getting so popular. You see, they just signed on for 12 episodes for season 4.
Yeah, season 4.
They're upping it from 10 to 12.
Which is a good thing too, because each season I'm like, man, it's a little short, but I'm glad they're doing that. It's a good episode. But if everybody's saying it's like The Walking Dead with aliens, I wouldn't really use that comparison. I mean, they share similarities, but I actually like this a little more than The Walking Dead TV series. Dare I say it? So yeah, give it a chance. Fallen Skies TNT.
Shun the non-believer. Just kidding. Thank you, Bob.
And Eric, when you start watching it on TV, let me just warn you that TNT has the most annoying repeat commercials in the world. I don't know if you watch any TNT shows, but it's awful.
I usually it comes on Sunday nights, right?
Yeah.
See, that's a good thing. Most of that is Sunday nights. Because don't it air the same time as Game of Thrones and all them did, or is it after?
It airs at 10 now. It used to air at 9. So it does that to avoid Walking Dead and Game of Thrones because they were all at 9.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch them on television. I would wait until after they both aired, and then I would just stream them on demand with no commercials. So because it's the same Sunday night, it would be Saturday night would be Doctor Who, then Sunday night would be Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, and I would stream all of them after they've all aired. I just stay away from the interwebs, and I'll just do the same thing with Fallen Skies. So yeah,
Awesome.
Great show.
Massive door slamming here.
Back to your vault. Thank you, Eric. Now I actually kind of want to watch that show. Like, I'm usually not into alien stuff, but hearing you talk about it, I want to check it out for sure.
It's got what's the actor's name? Plays Weaver.
Noah Wiley.
Yeah, dude, I really like it. I really like him as an actor.
That's not Weaver. Noah Wiley is Tom.
Yeah, okay. Who's Weaver?
Noah Wiley is Tom. I don't know who Weaver is, but he's awesome.
He played the general in The Postman. Remember the Postman with Kevin Costner?
No.
He was in Armageddon. Give me 1 minute. I'm looking.
Will Patton.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Will Patton.
Yeah, dude, I really like his character. Every movie he's in, I really like his acting.
He was in Remember the Titans and
Punisher.
Cool. Check out those aliens, folks. It's The Walking Dead with aliens.
It's
you
not
heard it
The
here.
Walking Dead with aliens.
It is completely not Walking Dead or aliens. Okay. Oh, and we might actually have our boy Ben doing his segment. He just texted me and said he's here. Or he's home. He's not at my home, but maybe he is home.
He's doing the breast zucchini.
There he is.
Here I am.
Hey, Ben, let me ask you a quick question since you just now joined us. What do you think of breast zucchini?
Sweet.
What do you think of breast zucchini?
I don't know that I've heard of such.
Yeah. It could be a breast.
I like the concept.
Like a zucchini fashioned in the shape of a breast.
Okay, I do approve of that. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, do you have a book for Ben's Book Bonanza? Because it is literally just the time for your segment.
Really? Well, that is awesome.
It's like perfect timing.
Okay, I do have a book. It is actually Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow together. We have talked about these a little bit before, but I have been looking at the movie coming out yesterday and today, so I'm getting pretty excited about that. So I thought I'd talk about those.
Heck yeah.
I recommend these books be read together, one right after the other, beginning with Ender's Game and then go through Ender's Shadow. The cool thing about these books is they both take place at the exact same time and in almost the exact same place. It's just from two different characters' point of view. And while that sounds boring, it's absolutely not.
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But it does kind of sound like Twilight when Stephanie Meyer's like, I'm going to write the books from Edward's point of view. So you going to tell me that's what it is?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's much cooler than that. No, essentially, and these books are very intellectual. You know, they have all these puzzles and political games and scheming. It's about children who are certified geniuses, essentially. But when you read the first book, all these really crazy things happen, and you think, wow, that's really cool how all that fits together. You know, this is really awesome. And things that happen way in the beginning of the book come to have a huge impact at the end of the book, and I love it when that happens. But then when you go read Ender's Shadow, when you start getting to the parts that you remember where you thought, man, I forgot that he had done that. Well, you realize that not only was there a twist then, but there were even things going on that you didn't know about in the first book at the same time. So like characters that you saw and had conversations, when you thought they were doing one thing, were really doing something else. And then in the second book, they're doing something else again. So it's it's really crazy, but it all does fit together. It all makes sense. It's not like crazy stuff that doesn't make sense. So that's my recommendation for Ben's Book Bonanza.
Awesome, dude.
You got me excited, man, and I don't even read that kind of stuff, and I'm like, man, I want to read those.
Nice, good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Ender's
awesome.
Game is short, so if you want to go ahead and get hooked, you can do that. You can probably read it in a day or two.
Awesome.
Cool, man. And really awesome professionalism. You literally just jumped in the show and were like, boom, I got this.
So
that's
Dude, like, I don't know about you, but like, it always sounds so. It always sounds so fake whenever I hear somebody's segment, and I'm like, dude, that sounds so awesome. But at the same time, I'm looking it up. I'm sitting here going, God, I want to read this. I want to do this. I want to buy that statue that Patrick's talking about. It's just awesome.
Well, then the plan is working. Our little scheme we've had here is working quite well.
It is.
Yeah, man. Gets me excited.
All right,
It's
so
like
next.
Rev you up, man.
my fill, man.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Screw your show. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so next up we have listener interactions. And I'm going to see if Eric will go ahead and do us the honor of reading our Facebook listener interactions.
Hold on, I'm finding them.
I thought he gave
Basically,
up.
this week we put out the question, since we're talking about villains tonight, we put out the question of who are some of your favorite villains and why. And we got a few answers back here.
Okay.
I don't know what this is.
Okay, I found them.
All right, cool. So go ahead and read us some stuff off of the Facebook.
Let's see. Facebook really likes to put comments out of order, so we'll just go down the list. First, have Michael Miller. Everyone knows him as Zippy. Vader's pretty awesome, especially he does sort of get redeemed near the end. I have to pull from what I know best, though, being manga and anime, saying Griffin from Berserker is one epic villain. Not that she's supposed to like him, but as a villain, he's really well done. So that is Michael Miller's pick. Next, we have Steven Sapp. The T-1000, it's liquid metal, could only be defeated after being thrown into molten steel, or the agent in the movie Serenity. Has anybody seen the movie Serenity?
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. He proclaims that he is a monster, doesn't care if he even kills children.
Hey, wait, Eric, while you're on that subject,
Yes.
is that guy that plays that T-2000 or 1000, is he the same guy that's in True Blood, that's a werewolf?
I couldn't tell you because I don't watch that dude show.
Yes.
Oh,
He
okay.
is Alcide's dad.
Okay, it was driving me nuts. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Next is Dave Luther. Thanos. No explanation required.
Actually, there was an explanation required because I asked why. Thanks,
Rip-off
Luther.
of Apocalypse. Total rip-off.
That technically is an explanation. Anyway. Next is our friend James Hughes. Dr. Doom, period. And the GOAT.
Can somebody enlighten me as to what the
I have
goat
no
is?
idea. I meant to Google earlier.
And it's like G.O.A.T.
The get all at all.
The good old mountain boys. That's what it is. The good old mountain boys
Yeah.
of Tennessee.
Anyway, next is from Joe Kerr. Sure we know.
AKA Dustin Stevens, to the layman. out there.
Joker, because his brilliance that lies just under his insanity. Doomsday for being the only one to take down Superman. Darkseid because he is a maniacal god who stopped at nothing to get an anti-life equation.
True.
DC.
Yeah, pretty much. Solomon Grundy because he is a real powerful undead force that changes with every reincarnation. And, that was his second part. It's out of order on Facebook. It's a four-way tie between DC, Joker, Doomsday, Solomon Grundy, and Darkseid. For Marvel, it has to be Galactus, hands down. I mean, homeboy eats planets.
hold on
name
though.
Buck
Is
Seed?
Galactus really a villain?
Yeah.
He eats planets.
Yeah. What more do
I
you
mean,
need?
yeah. From our perspective, that sucks. But doesn't he have to eat plants to live?
What?
So it's like the
I don't-
food chain is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's the circle of life.
Wow.
Sorry.
You say that Jaws
I'll-
is not a villain then?
I can't believe Joker
Yes, Jaws is
didn't even
not a
say the
villain.
Joker.
He did.
In my opinion, I
Oh,
don't
he
think
did?
Jaws is a villain.
Yeah, Facebook throws his comments out of order. So that was first. It says a 4-way tie between Joker, Doomsday, and Solomon Grundy and Darkseid.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Knowing Dustin for years and years and years, though, like he always prefers like the largest possible character you can have. So like
He likes the big boys.
he's like, exactly. He's like, well, I like Juggernaut, but you know what? Galactus is bigger, so I'm gonna go with him. You know.
Fing fang foom.
Oh, he's pretty big.
There's some horrible innuendos needed to be spoken. Anyway, that's all for Facebook. Is there any on Twitter?
Two. One didn't really answer the question, but I'm gonna read it
Even
anyway.
Dave Luther, go ahead and answer it.
I'm going to do it. So, first up is from Derek Springer at The Real DCF. Says, at Vitamin Geek. You know, that's a really good question. I never thought about that.
He needs time to think about it. That's why I didn't answer.
I think his answer.
Derek, he wrote that 7 hours ago. Come on, Derek, think quicker.
I love it when
Thanks
people
for
just
that.
type as they're thinking. It's awesome.
It's just free form typing. I love it.
Hey, but
The
Corey
next-
loves anybody that comments on his stuff. So
I do.
Keep it coming.
Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, next is from CJ Posey at Siege Posey. She says, at Vitamin Geek, Ursula from The Little Mermaid used to really freak me out as a kid. And then she said, poor unfortunate souls. I'm just assuming she was singing it
that's
while
a good
typing.
one, actually. That's really.
Posey can verify that or
verify that
deny.
she probably did sing that as she typed it into her
See?
phone.
There we go.
I think that's a really good pick. She was scary.
Thank you for writing into us, CJ, and for always writing something awesome in, and usually Disney related. I can appreciate that. Up next, we have one of our favorite segments. It is What's Up With You? And we are going to start from the first block on my screen, which is Mr. Brandon Posey, and ask him the question, what's up with you?
Well, this week has been a little short on the what's up with you, but let's see. I went and saw the Wolverine. Pretty standard popcorn movie. Nothing really spectacular stood out to me, except for like the end, which was really awesome. Not the end of the movie, but after the credits started rolling. The movie by
I really
itself.
expected more, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think, and I heard this on a podcast. They tried to make Wolverine more like Batman, as in being like a detective, like figure out who done it and all the. Wolverine's not a detective. Dude just says, "Point me and I'll kill," and that's what he does. And so, it was kind of a weird take on the character, but obviously Hugh Jackman's amazing as Wolverine. So anyway, I did enjoy the movie. I would see it again. So Wolverine did that. Started rewatching season 7 of The Office, which is the last season that Steve Carell is on, and just can't get over how brilliant that season is. Season 8 and season 9 kind of tanked until the last maybe 3 to 4 episodes of the last season, which just pretty much nailed the entire show, and like, wrapped up in a pretty little box and bow on it with some
I
flowers.
gotta say, my wife and daughter both cried during the last episode.
I cried.
Last episode.
I cried in the last episode, man. That show.
Yeah,
I watched that show since season 1.
Yeah, we did too.
I take it back. I started watching in season 2, went back, but I mean, it's still, like what, 8 years that I watched the show.
Yeah.
having to wait for the next season to come out because of the cliffhanger and all that garbage. So definitely was a big deal for me to when it ended. And then I read Dark Avengers, which was the storyline. Actually, it's Dark Reign from Dark Avengers, which when Norman Osborn took over the Avengers and called them himself Iron Patriot and yada yada. I didn't really care too much for the story. I thought it was kind of lame. Basically, it's about Morgan Le Fay, which if you don't know your English literature, is the sister of King Arthur, who is also a witch. Anyway, she's also a character in Marvel Comics for some reason, and they have to go fight her and a bunch of dragons and stuff, and I don't know, it's kind of dumb. But there's some weird stuff talking about Green Goblin and some guy named Bob who was Captain Marvel. I really didn't follow it too well because it wasn't that well written, but I did see that as well. And I saw another movie this weekend. Oh, yeah. What was that movie? The robots, Pacific Rim. I saw that over the weekend as well. Gotta say, not too excited about it. It wasn't really that. In my opinion, I think they picked an actor for the lead who just didn't deliver. Also, I heard a podcast saying if that movie with if you put that actor into Wolverine and Hugh Jackman into this movie, Pacific Rim would have been a lot better, but then Wolverine would have sucked. They were comparing the two for some reason, but I definitely think that a better main star could have made that movie a lot better. And it's really confusing because Guillermo del Toro makes good movies, and don't really understand why this movie was not up to par with what he's done before. So that's what's been up with me this week.
All right, excellent, man. Thank you, Posey. Eric Williams, what's up with you?
As I said earlier, I've been doing nothing pretty much but streaming Fallen Skies all weekend. I'm also, since I have Dragon Con coming up, I'm trying to make me a TARDIS Fez. A Fez with the TARDIS theme. I've seen them pop up online a bunch of times, so I've been trying to make one of those this past week, and it's not really going too great, but that's about the only thing that's going on with me.
Cool. We got some crafty listeners out there. We need some help on this Fez, because my man Eric here wants to rock that TARDIS on his head. So if anybody wants to help out with that and be a Vitamin Geek helper, we'll take it. Thanks, Eric. Patrick Sykes, what's up with you?
A little of this, a little of that. Missed last week's show, but it was for a good cause.
You bastard!
We had Star Trek themed VBS at our church called God Trek for the kids. Had a whole bridge set constructed on the stage, and they did a little show every night, which was really cool. And it was all Star Trek themed, going to different planets every night. Just had a blast of fun doing that kind of thing. And I've been watching, actually been rewatching a lot of Star Trek Next Gen episodes here lately. If it's not on BBC, we've been watching on Blu-ray. Just kind of, I guess, rediscovering that series. It's my wife's favorite, and we just really enjoy it and enjoy watching it. I just actually got the expanded collector's edition scored in Star Trek Insurrection, which one of my favorite of the Next Gen films. I highly recommend picking that score up. And actually, I finally got to watch the new Evil Dead. And let me tell you, let me tell you right now, I watched it. Even the dog was getting scared. And after it was all over, I'm not kidding, I swore I heard the door creak open, my front door. Went to go check that in the back door, and I mean, I sat there with my jaw hanging open. I don't see how an unrated cut could come out of this movie, because that's one of the hardest R's I've seen since Freddy vs. Jason. And I really liked the fact that there was more to the story this time than there was last time, but also the fact that there was just homages to the original all over the place, but it was still its own entity. It was still its own beast. doing its own thing, and I thought it was just absolutely amazing, and especially when you know that those effects are done, live in camera as much as possible. Those guys really had to work their tail off to do some of that. Really, I thought it was really awesome. I actually watched it again the next night. I watched it on a Friday night, and then watched it again the next night because I just had to see it again. I just couldn't believe it. Especially the guy with the glasses. I can't remember his character's name, but just how much punishment he took was just unreal.
How did you like the female lead? I
was really hesitant at first to have a female lead in this movie because of, I'm tainted. I'll admit it. I've got a bias because our man Bruce Campbell being Ash in the original films. I mean, it's a big deal, but it doesn't really try to top it. It just, like I said, it makes the film its own thing, and I thought it worked out pretty well. I mean, I like the fact that the evil didn't take her like it took all the rest of them. So I mean, the one who needed the most help actually was the one who made it. Pretty much sucked though. The Jeep fell on her wrist and she had to lose her hand, but. I love when she just put the chainsaw right through the demon's face. I was just like, yeah, just loved it. I just thought it was great.
And then your wife's like, shut the hell up, I'm trying to sleep.
I wish. That was one of those weekends where they were at her mom's house, so I had free reign, so I finally got to watch it. And I will say I missed seeing it with you guys in the theater, but dadgum, that movie was as raw as balls to the wall as it gets for a horror film.
Excellent. Absolutely. All right, cool.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Patrick. Brian Wallace, our long lost compatriot. Let me ask you something. What's up with you?
Not a whole lot. I finished Orphan Black, and now I'm dying for the next season, which doesn't come out until next April. So if anybody goes and watches that, watch it slowly, because I want to know what happens. I'm dying. I saw the Wolverine, just like Posey. Thought it was just all right. I was really disappointed because when they took the samurai story on, I was really hoping we were going to see him like training as a samurai, and just something with the sword. I don't know. It just felt a little too Hollywoody instead of comic book style. But other than that, man, I've started. What did I start watching? I'm gonna start Doctor Who. I've always wanted to watch it, and I never have because I was like, there's so many years of it. I'm so intimidated. But everybody's saying if I start at 2009 or whatever, I'll be okay. 2005.
Yeah, first season 2005 of the modern age. Well, is that correct, Eric? Because I shouldn't overtake that.
Yeah, it's 2005.
Cool.
Yeah, just start with the Eccleston stuff, and I think you'll enjoy it, man.
Yeah, so I'm excited, looking forward to that. And I think Posey's the only other one that'll agree with me on this, but the more I read about the Xbox One, I think I'm starting to lean that way now. I'm starting to love it more. I mean, it comes with a headset now, it interacts with your DVR. Oh, awesome. There was an unveiling video I watched today.
Yeah.
And did you see that?
I'm still on the fence.
What, really?
Yeah. Well, I think what's going to happen is, obviously, I think now I'm not going to get one at launch because I have too much money tied up in, not tied up, but too many things else that I'm interested in that don't involve video games. And so I'm probably going to wait, probably even until next Christmas, even.
Wow.
Because I've got, there's a big trip I want to take with some people, with family.
Where are you going?
We're going to Disney World next October.
Cool.
And with my family, and I use that term, not loosely, and meaning the people that are going aren't actual family, but I consider them such. And also, I've got a con that I want to go to next August, which is called Gen Con, which I've been talking about all week, and I'm going to talk about for the next 365 days. So, with all that, I really don't have like a lot of money to spend on a system where I'm probably not going to play as much, because if you'll read the new Vitamin Geek podcast blog, I'm kind of getting away from video games and going towards board games because of the interaction with people. So
nice.
Good for you, man.
So we're
we've had some good times sitting around the table over there playing, all the flying frog stuff.
You're gonna have
and
to tell
Munchkin,
me
like
when
I
you
said.
play, because I'm super interested in learning one of those.
yeah, well, I just got another game in the mail a couple weeks ago, and we just played it. I guess it was Sunday night. My brother had come over to hang out. It's called their game is called Flux. It's just like a card game. That's like the base. It's kind of like Munchkin. And then what I had actually bought was Zombie Flux. Me and Eric saw it at Dice Head Games, and I got it on eBay. But basically, it's hard to explain unless you see the cards. But it's super fun. It's really awesome. Like, the rules keep changing. The way to win keeps changing. And that's why it's called Flux, because it keeps fluctuating. But me and my brother and Kyle and then CJ, we played it like 4 or 5 times that night. And it's a game that, like, let's say that me, Corey, and Eric were playing it, and then Brian, you just walked up to where we were playing, you would just draw 3 cards, and you were playing the game with us. There's no.
Will I have a chance to win?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
because winning, like I said, changes. So it's not like, you could have it's hard to explain, but like you have things you keep and things you like zombies you have to kill or whatever. But let's say that let's say the goal is to have no zombies in front of you, and you have the gas can and the car. Okay. Well, you have the gas can and the car and 1 zombie. So the next turn you can kill that zombie. But then let's say someone else plays a card where you have to have the baseball bat and 9 zombies in front of you. And now your winning scenario is gone because someone else played it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's really fun. And we had a blast playing it over and over and over and over again. So
Awesome, dude. I want to try that next time you guys play. Let me know.
Sure.
Hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
What's up with you?
Wait,
well, I'm going to tell
Ben,
you, but
didn't
I'm
we?
going to wait till I ask Ben.
Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Brian, for that.
What's up with you?
Well, fortunately, it's pretty short. I saw Dread last night. It was flipping awesome. Me and Patrick talked about this today. The only problem was I watched it, and about 9 o'clock, right as he's walking, we've all seen it, right?
Yep.
So no spoilers. Okay. Spoiler alert. Right as he is walking in to kill Mama, the power cuts out in my whole house.
Ah.
Yeah. That's like 8 minutes before the movie's over. So I didn't get to finish that. And I had to wake up early the next morning to finish it. But it was still awesome. So I definitely recommend seeing that movie.
I just picture Ben like cussing, going, no!
Oh yeah, it was like,
God,
and he's like, "What's wrong? Are you hurt?" I'm like, "Yes, a little bit, just not physically." I mean, it's yeah, it was bad.
Oh man, that freaked me out.
Yeah, I mean, because the chick got shot. She's laying on the floor, all wounded, and he starts talking to her, and then doom, everything shuts off.
Yeah. That freaked me out, man.
Yeah, it was bad.
I feel it. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that movie actually made me kind of want to go read the Dredd comics. I never read the Dredd comics. The only thing I knew about it was the Stallone movie until this, and so obviously the Stallone movie is not the reference point you want to use for the rest of anything to do with Dredd.
No.
Well, it's like it's like we were talking about today. Once I saw Dreads, like you said, now I actually kind of want to go read some comics.
Exactly.
Especially
right.
after seeing both, and then you can kind of compare a bit, and the fact that in Stallone's movie they do tell you that spoiler alert, Dredd is a clone.
Right.
And didn't you say they
weird.
Yeah, didn't they say they kind of hinted at that he's kind of special in the new movie Dredd?
When he first meets the psychic chick, Anderson.
That's right.
Who was awesome, by the way, was she not?
Yeah, she was. So they kind of hinted that there was something different about Dredd but they never actually said what it was.
Yeah.
And I will say the thing that I liked the most about this version versus the other version, and I discussed this with Patrick earlier, in the Stallone version, Dredd was very standoffish, but he didn't really understand why people didn't like him. You know what I mean? Like, he was all straight-laced and a tight ass, and then he would get confused when people were not the same way and didn't respond to that. But in this Dredd, he was kind of like Dirty Harry, as Patrick said earlier. He knew that he was pissing people off. He just did not care.
No. I mean, he's like, in the very beginning of the movie, a woman's taken hostage. Was it like a little like a food court type place or something?
Yeah, is at the mall.
And like he's down to the last of 3 guys, and I mean, he just says one command for the lawgiver, because I'm not giving that thing away because it's just too awesome to see it. And I mean, he's just like, she's just, oh, thank you so much, and he's just like, whatever, I'm
he
just
didn't
a
even say a
cop.
word to her. He just looks at her.
Yeah, he just looks at her. He just does.
Walks away.
Yeah, he just accentuates that frown a little bit more, and then it's like, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. Who the hell cares?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, Carl Urban owns that part, dude. I mean, he is so cool.
And and Patrick says this all the time. He doesn't take the helmet off ever, so you never see his face, but you still know it's him, and the performance is still amazing.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you see him suit up at the beginning of the film, which is really awesome to see, like this motorcycle outfit with all this armor plating on the outside. So, and he's got a utility belt with little, goodies, and the healing pack and stuff, which, yes, people, he does get hurt, but,
he does.
Which is really cool. And the lawgiver is bitching. Corey, whoever that cosplayer is you posted, we got to contact him and get those like all made for the whole group. And go as judges to a con or something.
I think that'll only run us about $250 to $300 a piece. So
not bad.
Go ahead and spearhead.
There you go.
Now, does that include the actual gun, or just we give him a gun and then he turns it into a lawgiver?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that is a finished lawgiver that he made, and it's made out of some kind of polyurethane, high impact rubber, plastic kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's pretty, and I think it's got LEDs, and then like. You know how you can like kind of visually see the ammo in the side of the magazine?
Right.
You got that too.
Nice.
And he can make badges.
We'll just start doing it in increments, and then Dragon Con will all finally go as judges. We'll just go as a pack of judges.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
All right, man. Anything else, man?
Not really. That's been all I've really had time for this week. It's my kid's birthday this week, but I will have more next week.
Happy birthday, young Hawkins.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, Brian.
What's up with you?
Well, thanks for asking. Let's see. Okay. I received a very cool book in the mail from Amazon. I've had on pre-order for months and months and months now, and that is the complete Grant Morrison Animal Man Omnibus. It is a beautiful 750 some odd page
more Animal
hardcover. Hey, dude, until you read Animal Man, I don't want to hear any.
You read it, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm sorry.
I admit that it sounds stupid and looks stupid from the cover.
Is it a continuing series, or is it limited?
No, this is old. This is issues 1 through 26 of the Grant Morrison reboot. He kind of revolutionized the character and made him very deep. I think this is from the 80s or 90s. So it's a 1 through 26 and then Secret Origin of Animal Man. So it's very exciting. Now they do have a new 52 Animal Man, which is where I kind of started learning about it. It's Jeff Lemire. It's amazing. I let Sykes borrow it. I think, Hawkins, did you read it? The first book?
Yes, I read the first book. So
it's so good.
I did enjoy it. I did. The setup was really nice. So
it's not that he's got some badass ability or that he gets in these really epic fights. What's so cool is how they take care of his personal relationships with his wife and his children and the public at large, and the Red, which is okay. Like the whole natural side to DC is there's the green and the red.
Yeah.
The green and the rot. There's the third thing.
Yeah.
So the green is protected by Swamp Thing. The red is protected by Animal Man.
And they do tie in together with the comics. He meets Swamp Thing.
Exactly. Basically, these three elements have to be kept in check. And one doesn't need to overpower the other two because that's when things get thrown out of balance. Rot World begins and the Rot kind of starts taking over. So basically, these two characters become the most important characters in the DC universe. You know, more important than Superman and Batman and everybody.
Which they do get in there.
Because they're actually saving...
Which they do get in there a little bit.
They do. But yeah, very cool story. So anybody who doesn't know anything about Animal Man, check out the Animal Man books. They're very affordable trades. I think they're like $10 or $11 a piece. And the Rot World story with Swamp Thing is freaking amazing.
It's real trippy.
Very trippy. Very cool. And if you have a family, you know, you can really kind of relate to the Animal Man story. I got this awesome cabinet for my action figures. It's got glass on the front. I sent Eric a picture of it. And the circumstances of me getting it kind of sucked because it was my mama's and she passed away. But yeah, it's going to make a very handsome case for all my toys. And let's see what else. Oh, I went to the movies today and I saw We Are the Millers or Meet the Millers or whatever the hell it is.
I heard it was awful. Is that true or was it good?
I laughed a lot. Maybe it was kind of because I was sitting beside my parents and hearing the F word a million
I
times.
heard the story doesn't even make sense.
The story's absolutely dumb. It's stupid. If you're a big Jennifer Aniston fan, you want to see her dance around in a bra and panties as a stripper, you probably love this movie.
All right, I'm there.
If you like Jason Sudeikis and his kind of sense of humor, then you'd probably like it. It's okay. It's not terrible. Whatever. It's pretty good. What else? I saw the Wolverine. It was awesome. I really dug it. More so than Origins. That's all I can think of right now. Oh! I'm caught up on Teen Titans Go. And
so you like Teen Titans Go?
I do like it. I wish it was more serious and there was more, Teen Titans stuff.
Right.
But it's cool, man. Like if I had a kid, I would love to watch stuff like this with them.
Yeah.
It's goofy. It's very goofy, and the animation is crazy. But if you're a big DC fan, then like there's a whole lot of little Easter eggs, like posters in the background of like Two-Face and Solomon Grundy.
You watch Beware the Batman or whatever it is?
I've seen the first episode all the way through now, finally after 3 attempts. And I gotta tell you, the first 2 times I tried to watch it, I hated it. I was like, this sucks. Batman sucks. And Alfred sucks. This whole thing sucks. But upon finishing the first episode today, I really like it. So I need to find episode 2 because for some reason the only one that's on demand is 1. and I have episode 4 DVR'd. So,
so you need to get to that.
But I mean, if you're a Batman fan, this is a very different take on Batman. But if you're a big fan of the character, I would recommend watching it. At least give it a shot.
It looks real goofy from the screen grabs I've seen of it.
The animation style is that kind of 3D rendered video, like PS1 video game look, which I hate. But I mean, again, like the show kind of grows on you. It's pretty charming, and it seems like the villains that they're picking are very kind of off the beaten path, which is cool. I don't want to just see him fight Joker every week or Bane.
Joker's
something.
cool,
So
but you can get burned out on him.
Exactly. Shine a light on some of these other characters. Like the first episode, the villains are the Mr. Toad and Professor Pig and Mr. Toad or something. I'd never even freaking heard of them.
I don't think I have either.
Apparently, they're in some series of Batman. I think Grant Morrison might have created them. Don't quote me there, but I heard that someone.
The podcast will.
Yeah,
quote
good
you.
show. Don't quote me, man. Quest for
Hashtag.
That's about it. I've got Red upstairs to watch.
Yes.
A friend at work, April, let me borrow it. I've never seen it. Susan's never seen it, so we're gonna watch that probably this weekend, and go see Red 2.
Retired and dangerous.
Extremely dangerous, Brad.
I was thinking. Retired and
We can
dangerous.
clear an entire room of orange sherbet ice cream.
Oh, dude. Okay, there's two things I want to say about the movie I saw today, the Millers, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing is it has the most awkward kissing scene ever.
Okay.
I guess you'd have to see it to get it.
You really have to.
So why are you mentioning this?
Has everybody seen the trailer?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the kid in the trailer that's like singing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls," really funny.
Right.
Yeah.
The little boy,
Yeah.
the one that's pretending to be the son. So he's never been kissed, and he's sitting on the couch beside Emma Roberts, who's playing his sister, and she's like, "Well, you're not really my brother. Let me teach you how to kiss." So he's kissing her, and then Jennifer Aniston goes, "No, I want to teach you some other stuff." So she's on the other side of him kissing him, and he's going back and forth. It was really weird, man.
Good
And there's
lord,
also-
that kid's gonna have so many stories to tell.
I can't figure out if you like this movie or not.
It was, I don't know, dude.
I don't think
it's
he
not
knows
horrible.
if he likes it or not.
It was funny.
Would
It
you
was
say
funny.
it's a rental
I didn't-
only?
Yeah, no.
What?
Yes.
That'll be way back.
Wait,
That'll be
wait,
hidden
wait.
behind like everything else on his DVD shelf. That'll be way in the back.
But the reason I brought this back up is because Brian was like, retired and dangerous, and he's saying like "end" in the middle. There's a guy who has a tattoo in the movie across his chest, and they're asking him about it.
I saw that guy.
So
I don't even know where we're going with this.
I'm sorry. We're off the rails, but I gotta tell you this. I gotta finish this. Okay, so he has a tattoo across his chest, and he's like, "So what's that tattoo on your chest?" He's like, "That's my credo." Know what I'm saying? And he's like, and what it says is no. It's supposed to say no regrets, but it's RAGRETS. No regrets. I don't know. So it's made me think of it. Anyway, cool. So that's what's up with everybody on this effing show. We are going to take a short break, guys. During the break, I'm going to play an interview I did last night with Ejen from Cosplay in America about his Kickstarter and his book coming out. That's going to be great. We talked about Dragon Con and how he gets around to like every con out there, guys. He's trying to make a really cool book for you guys. His Kickstarter has like 4 days left. So definitely go check that out. If it's something you're interested in, pledging at the $45 level, you get a signed copy of the book shipped to you when it's released. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I pledged my $45 right before the show, so I'm definitely in to get that book and check the rest of his cosplay photos out. He's a really good photographer, so check it out. Anyway, here's that interview with Ejen, and we will be back in just a few moments with Mika Nicole to talk about her cosplay and to have a big old discussion about villains. Hey guys, this is Corey Keelan with the Vitamin Geek podcast, and with me tonight I have Ejen from Cosplay in America, and we're going to talk to him about his Kickstarter that's going on right now. 5 days to go, so everybody needs to pledge immediately, and very, very close to that goal.
It's pretty close, but I'm kind of nervous because I've seen campaigns fail by $1,000 before, and I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens.
No way. We got to get the cosplay community to really dig in on this. Got a little over 5,000 left, but I think you're gonna make it, man.
I think so too, but like I said, like I pledged before to another Kickstarter, and they were so close, and they're off by 1,000. I was like,
Oh no.
Well, you can never tell with these things.
Well, I guess first thing, how did you get into cosplay, and what I guess what piqued your interest with it?
See. Okay, so my first official convention is Anime Expo in 2008. And I say official because I've been to another convention, but it was only like a half-day thing that I went to, so and that was like years before I even went back to Anime Expo. And so in 2008 when I went there, I knew about cosplay already because I saw it online, but and what I wanted to do is I wanted to do my pictures differently. So I bought my own backdrop. So, I mean, ever since the very first Anime Expo I went to in 2008, I bought my own backdrop, and I've shot with the gray backdrop and everything. But the thing that I wasn't aware of was how intricate it was and how amazing it is to see in person. It's one thing to see it on, a computer screen, but then when you're actually there in front of you and you can look around and look at it in 3D, well, I mean, it is in front of you. It's pretty amazing, and I kind of got into it. I actually have to credit my friend Bill for actually pushing me onto the book idea, because he was like, dude, you could do a book. And I'm like, a book? And then as a photographer, I think every photographer out there wants to make their own book someday. So I was like, maybe I can do this. So it kind of snowballed from there. So everything from 2008 until now, it's been kind of like a snowball. Like, it just kind of started rolling. And next thing I knew it, I'm running a Kickstarter for a project now.
Yeah, it's I'm kind of new to cosplay. It's kind of something I've just been more or less getting into since we started the podcast, and I really enjoy it. I mean, I've been going to cons for a few years now, and you always see cosplayers, but like now that I'm really learning, I guess the subculture of it, kind of meeting cosplayers and stuff like that. It's really deep, man. There are several levels of cosplay out there.
Definitely.
People have no idea.
No, I think what happens is the media shows only like a small percentage of what's really out there, and there's so much more to it. I mean, cosplay is as easy or as complicated as you want it to be, and I think the final rule is, there's a rule, is to make sure you have fun and do it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy with yourself, and you're not having fun, then why even do it?
Yeah, what's the point? I mean, at the heart of it, it's a hobby, right?
Exactly.
Well, cool. So you had another book before.
Mm-hmm.
This is your second one.
Yep.
So
what makes it
so far
different?
you've... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What makes it different from the first book to the second book?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to do the same book again because it's like a Hollywood sequel, Usually the first movie is pretty awesome, second movie is like okay, and third movie goes to crap, basically, Hollywood sequel wise. So my idea was to somehow make it not like the first book, but yet the same as the first book. So, and I realized back in actually this year that nobody has really looked upon like the behind the scenes of cosplay. Like all you ever see is a picture of a cosplayer, or they're at a convention in front of you, and it's pretty much all done, right? So you don't see what goes into it, as well as other parts of their facet that you may not realize unless you spend the whole day following cosplay around. So in essence, I'll just follow a few hundred cosplayers around for you and make a book about it.
Awesome. And so people are, in essence, saving a bunch of money because I'm looking at your con list for the book here. You got San Diego, Otakon. That's this weekend, right?
Yep. And actually, tomorrow's day zero. I'm heading down to Baltimore to photograph 3 groups of cosplayers, and it's going to be crazy. This whole week's been crazy.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Then looks like you're going to Denver.
Yep.
So back across the U.S., then back to Atlanta.
Yep.
We'll be there, by the way, at DragonCon.
Oh, cool. Well, we have to meet up. There's going to be a Kickstarter meetup, so you just come by and you can meet up with me, too.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, we all live in the Tennessee, North Georgia area, so we're really close.
I'm going to go MTAC next year, too. First time. Woohoo!
Oh, cool. That is awesome.
There's a few more. If this whole Kickstarter thing takes off, I'm actually working on going to more conventions. But I just have to figure out how to actually pull that off. But I want to go to more conventions.
Yeah, definitely. Have you been to DragonCon before?
I was 2 years ago. It blew my mind, and I now tell people that if you have to go to a convention for cosplay and you can only go to one convention, it's got to be DragonCon in Atlanta, Georgia.
Do you have any? So this is going to be my first year at DragonCon.
Oh, really? Okay.
One of the other guys on the show has been 10 years.
Oh,
so he's pretty much a seasoned vet at this point.
He'll tell you everything you need to know.
Oh, absolutely. Do you have any crazy con stories you could share with us?
There's a lot of drinking.
Sure. The buckets of rum, from what I've heard about DragonCon.
All I can really remember was just like taking pictures, because when I went last time, about 2 years ago, I set up my backdrop and I was taking pictures of cosplayers like all day. I just was amazed at how the people came together, at this convention. and I really like it. I'm only sorry I couldn't go back last year, but I'm back this year.
Awesome. So it must be great then.
I tell people there's 3 conventions to go to: Anime Expo, San Diego Comic Con, Anime Expo. And that just once in your lifetime, just to go try it out. So that's on my top 3 list.
We've talked about flying out to San Diego at some point just to at least experience it.
You should.
I always hear about the crazy crowds, like it's so huge. And
Dude, my roommate and his boyfriend went to go camp out overnight for Hall H, and I'm like, okay, you guys are crazy. I'm not that crazy. I'm not going to go camp overnight just to go watch actors on a stage that I can just watch on YouTube in 2 days. I'm missing the whole experience, obviously, of being there, but at the same time, I'm not going to put up with all that.
it's just getting that initial buzz that people love, I guess.
It's really crazy because every year I always say at the end of San Diego Comic Con, man, I'm not going back. It's just too crowded. And yet every year I'm like, gotta go back. So it's kind of a catch-22. You'll find yourself loving and not loving it at the same time. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, the crowds. Okay, I don't know about you, but with so many people packed into the place, I start getting oh, too many people. Like
a little bit claustrophobic.
Yeah, and I go to enough conventions that I can probably handle it, but it's still San Diego Comic Con, especially in the exhibit hall. It's crazy. You can't even see one end to the other end. If you're standing at one end of the whole hall, you can't see the wall to the other end. It'll take you probably 20 to 25 minutes to walk all the way through with people everywhere.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's not New York Comic Con, that's for sure.
That sounds crazy. So, okay, a couple of friends wrote in some questions here.
Okay.
As far as the process you went through on the first book, and then you're doing kind of a more in-depth book this time, what are some of the lessons you learned in between projects that you've taken into this new book?
Well, through the whole process, when I first shot cosplayers, I would shoot 100 cosplayers a day back in 08, 09. I've shot so much now that I can nail it down to 150 in a day. So my output is much faster. And I also shoot less time too, because I know what shots I'm looking for, and I know how to get the shots that I don't need to spend like 5 minutes, or I don't have to shoot 300 pictures. I can probably get it within 20 shots of what I'm looking for. And the funny thing is, I don't know what I'm looking for until they stand in front of me, because everybody reacts to the camera in a different way. And some people, they go with the flow, and then you can it's almost like a dance. You can make something out of it. And then other people are a little bit more standoffish, and it's a little bit harder, and you have to kind of break through and get them to more comfortable. And I know it's hard because, I have a beauty dish, which is a soft light reflector. It looks kind of different from what people usually see, because it's just one of those gears that people don't usually see in the consumer world. And so the trick is to get people as relaxed as possible to get the shots, and as quick as possible too. It's kind of crazy.
Definitely. So what is your next step in the process of creating the new book? Is it just shoot more pictures, or
basically
change up the formula?
Yes and no. Okay, so I'm going to more conventions, but the thing I'm learning on the whole process is that my parameters keep shifting. Like when I started this in New York back in February, it was photograph the cosplayer in their homes while they're in cosplay, and I did that in Seattle and New York. But as I kept doing this, I started realizing that I wanted to focus more on the behind the scenes. So it started shifting, and it's going to keep continuing to shift, because if you think about it, photographing behind the scenes can get boring and kind of boring after a while. So the trick is to work it in a way that keeps it still entertaining in a way. And so I'm not even sure how the project's going to turn out, but the way to get there is to just keep shooting it and to find different things while I'm there, because there might be something there that would jog my head and think, wait a minute, I could try to do this way or do this. And so it's kind of like an evolving process. It's not like, okay, this is the final goal and everything. I mean, I have a final goal. It's just a very rough goal right now, but I'm working my way to that goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because for one thing, you're getting a lot more media to compose in the book, and I think the behind the scenes thing is really interesting, because myself, I've done some fabrication and costumes and things like that over the year. I wouldn't say I'm a cosplayer though, because I've never went super in depth with it. But
right,
for me and like the kind of crafty people that want to build our own prop weapons or our own masks or whatnot, that stuff is really cool. I think on the first book you had spoken with I can't remember his name, but I think it's Bill something. He does punished props.
Oh, yes, I talked to Bill. Actually, I saw him in Seattle this year because he's one of the guys I went to start. Because besides cosplay, there's also prop makers and so forth. So I'm also putting that into the mix. So I talked to him back in March, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a collection of different aspects of cosplay. When I say behind the scenes, it's the people who help handle the cosplay, which means they're people who help, especially if you have a large costume and you're walking down a hallway, you might need some help, and you might have your vision impaired because you might have a helmet or something. So there are people who always help out, handlers. I don't know what other terms to call them, but like that. Also, I'm going to look into cosplay photographers as well. Go to masquerades. It's kind of like a big mishmash of convention and home put together.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like convention, because conventions have. I mean, you've seen this over the years. If you've been attending so many, the kind of geek culture has exploded.
Definitely.
And conventions have grown exponentially since their inception, and things like Comic-Con and Dragon Con. I don't know how many people show up for those, but every time I hear the number, it's like it's mind-boggling. It's in the tens of thousands.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy, and I kind of like it because when I was a kid, it wasn't good to be a nerd. You would get picked on. But now people are just like, I'm a nerd, and they're proud of it, So it's kind of a nice change from when I was a kid, and it wasn't exactly that way.
Yeah, it's like it's a buzzword now.
And I'm not sure how this happened. I want to say part of it has to do with the Marvel movies that they had because, in the last 3 years there were more comic book conventions popping up. Like I'm hearing new ones all the time. They're growing much faster. Now, before there were more anime conventions. I'm not exactly sure why, but there were, and now there's more comic book conventions starting to pop up. If you go look at Kickstarter, there's like Grand Rapids Comic Con. I'm backing them for expansion. I also backed Awesome Con in DC earlier this year. So they're out there. They're growing. Denver Comic Con. I don't know if you heard about Denver Comic Con. It's only I think third year in, and their numbers are just huge. And I don't think anybody had any idea how big it was going to be in Denver, Colorado until it came out,
Yeah, I actually, there's a couple of comic book podcasts I follow, and it seems like every one of them at least had somebody going to Denver Comic Con. They loved it. They said it was great.
I got to get myself out there. Maybe next year, maybe the year after.
I've never even been to the state, so there you go.
Oh, I didn't know that. Where are you guys based?
Tennessee.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You're sorry. I got mixed up. I thought you said out of the country.
Oh no. I mean, the furthest I've been out of the country was on a cruise ship, and then I think I went to Canada for an afternoon. It's not really. It doesn't really count.
Well, you're in Tennessee. You should be able to just easily. Well, Dragon Con is pretty close by. Also, Anime Week in Atlanta. How far is Gen Con from you?
Gen Con, it's in Indianapolis? Yep. 7 hours or so, I think.
How far is Atlanta from you?
From me, about an hour and a half.
Yeah, okay, go to Atlanta. Go to Dragon Con.
Yeah, my wife and I got tickets. This will be our first time, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think she's like, just she's kind of cool with it, but not really as stoked as I am.
Oh, I mean, she's into the whole fandom, right?
Not really, man.
Oh, okay. Well, this will be interesting for her.
Yeah, she's been to one convention so far, and it was in Nashville. It was just strictly a horror and tattoo convention.
Okay.
And she was mainly there to look at the tattoos and stuff, but she's a big fan of Walking Dead.
Okay.
and Norman Reedus was there, so she wanted to meet him. Oh, this is an awful story, but so we get in line to meet Norman Reedus, and we're standing there for a solid hour. They come out and they cut the line off 4 people ahead of us and said Norman has to leave to go on Talking Dead tonight.
Oh,
so like broke her heart. She's like, man, F cons, I hate this. I'm like, it's not always this bad, I promise.
Oh, you know what? He travels around. Like, I see him, like, well, I don't personally see him, but I see his face pop up on my Facebook feed all the time. Like, this guy just goes all over the place at cons all the time.
He's everywhere. I think he's very fan oriented, so that's really refreshing. So, okay, with geek culture exploding and cons getting bigger and cosplay itself at the biggest point it's ever been at, what do you think of this upcoming sci-fi show, Heroes of Cosplay? It's kind of raising a fuss on the internet. So I just wonder what you thought of it.
You know what? I can't really tell because I don't know about you, but I've seen some really good trailers to really crappy movies. And I've seen some crappy trailers to really good movies. And I have a hard time trying to figure out how this is going to play out because I saw one trailer and I was like, okay, this is going to be this way. But then I saw another trailer that was like 2 minutes long and I was like, oh, it's going to go that way. So at this time, I have no idea what to think until I actually see it.
Yeah, I'm withholding judgment. I'm kind of excited about it, though. I mean, if nothing else, I like shows on sci-fi like Face Off. That's probably my favorite show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if this is anything like Face Off, but with cosplay, then I'm gonna dig it.
Well, we shall see. It's what, August 27th? Is that the release date? I think it's like August 27th.
I think it's next Tuesday.
Is it?
I thought. Yeah, I think it's after the premiere of Face Off.
That does make sense. Heroes of Cosplay. Well, it's August 13th. Oh, wow. Okay, well, hopefully this will be streamable because I don't actually have cable or anything. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sci-Fi does the streaming TV shows.
Wow, it was so close. The 13th. Why did I think it was the 27th? I don't know.
I thought it was later in the month too. I actually thought it was after Dragon Con at one point, and then I saw that it came up on the DVR.
I'm also curious to see that Atlanta PBS one called Cosplay Creating a Secret Identity or something like that. It's already aired, but we outside of Atlanta can't see it until they put it to stream, which will be sometime this month.
Oh yeah, I had heard about that. I missed it on TV as well. I still haven't seen the what is the documentary 4 Days at Dragon Con?
Yeah, I think you should be able to stream that right now on, I think it's pba.video.com or something.
Oh, okay. Sounds familiar. I'll have to check that out. Have you ever cosplayed yourself?
I have cosplayed. Last time I cosplayed was probably YumaCon last year in October. So it gets harder to do what I do. I usually, in the past, I had cosplay at local conventions in Los Angeles because I don't have to do as much. I'm just hanging out. But because everything's kind of ramped up, it's hard for me to just go and hang out now. So.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like if you're a vendor at a con, you can either be a vendor or you can go and enjoy the con.
You can kind of still enjoy it. I kind of enjoy it, but from a different aspect. I like to hear people's stories, and people like to come up and they tell me their stories. I'm like, cool beans.
Yeah. So with doing what you do with the books, I mean, you've gotten to meet. I guess all the most popular cosplayers and.
No, not everybody. There's some people I haven't had a chance to meet. It's kind of hard because I just kind of wander around, and so if you don't run into me while wandering around, then I may not see you. Some of the more well-known ones may have tables or something set up, and so they have to be a place for a certain amount of time. But I kind of wander around, so I don't have a table. Since I don't have a book to sell anymore, I've been kind of free to just wander through the convention, just talk to people, take pictures, hang out, kind of, and make videos. And stuff.
That's cool. It leaves it kind of organic, where there's kind of a happenstance to everything, I guess.
That's the whole plan for this Otakon. Like I have people to go visit in the morning, but after that, it's up to. I tell everybody, if you're doing something or something, text me, and then or if you see me, wave at me, and then I might just go off with them for a while. So I'm leaving it up to chance in a way to see what happens.
That's cool, man. I think that's really cool.
Well, you know what? I think it's kind of the best way, because this way I'll talk to everybody, meet everybody. It's like it's kind of open. I also, on Saturday, when I do the pictures for portraits, it's shot like the first book with a gray backdrop. I'll set it for 7 or 8 hours, and I'm doing this at every convention I'm going to. Anybody can show up as long as they're in costume. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to be amateur. Well, you can be a professional. You can be amateur. You can be anybody. As long as you're in costume, I will take your picture. You know, I don't have any kind of like rules or anything. You don't have to sign up for it. You just have to show up. You may have to wait a while, or you can come back again. I mean, I'm there for 7 or 8 hours until my battery dies out. So I'm around.
That's awesome.
You know, and I figure it's the best way to get everybody, because, you know, like, I think sometimes that a lot of media focus on well-known cosplayers, or, you know, like cosplayers' names or something. I kind of want to just meet everybody, so I'm leaving it open to anybody can come and talk to me. It's pretty open.
That's great, man. That's one of the things we've been doing with the show, is kind of interviewing different cosplayers each week.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for one, you can't always get, you know, the same cosplayers that are on the television shows, and like Yaya Han she's on TV. She was on the TBS show. What is it? King of Nerds.
Yeah.
And then she's on the Cosplay Heroes show.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool to kind of feature maybe some of the lesser known cosplayers.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, not to say that to belittle anybody, but you know, it's great to get everybody out there, kind of shine a spotlight on them a little bit.
Everybody has an interesting story, and I think that's what makes it really great for what I do, is I get to hear everybody's story, and it's kind of fun.
Absolutely, man. Let's see. Speaking of cosplayers, is there who would you say are some of your favorite people that you've kind of met over the years?
Okay, this is going to sound corny, but there's this couple in Chicago I always run into. It's a grandmother, grandfather. I'm sorry. Well, they're retired. They're a retired married couple, and they do Mario and Peach, and they cosplay with their grandkids. And to me, that's amazing, because they're taking an active part with their kids, and everybody always has a big old smile when they see them, because it's like, it's Princess Peach and Mario. You know, that's awesome. You know.
That is awesome. Oh, that's great, man. I mean, and it's something that any age group can do. You know, that's another thing. Any gender, any race, any age group can get involved in cosplay. I mean, not everybody's going to look like the character. Who cares? It's kind of the passion that they put into the costuming, and that really shows in the finished product.
Like I said before, it's up to each person to determine what they wanted to get out of cosplay, and just to have fun at it. That's pretty much it. It's kind of simple.
Cool, man. Well, I guess that's all the questions I have. So let's do a little plug for your Kickstarter here.
Plug.
So everybody go to Google and search for Cosplay in America Kickstarter, or just go to Kickstarter and search for Cosplay in America.
Or you can go to tinyurl.com/kickstartthebook.
Kickstart the book.
Yeah, tinyurl.com/kickstartthebook. And it goes to it.
If you are searching for it, you'll see a female shepherd.
Yep.
For those of you who like Mass Effect, for those of you that don't, you'll see a redhead with a gun and some armor. This book looks awesome. And I'm guessing, can people still find the first book on Amazon?
They're available through third-party vendors on Amazon, but they're hard to find. What I would suggest is call your local comic book store, because I shipped out around 600 copies to comic book stores around the country. So they may still be sitting somewhere, and you might get lucky. They may be trying to get rid of it because it's been sitting on their shelf for a while. So I would advise call your local comic book store and ask them if they have Cosplay in America.
Cool. That sounds awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate your time.
Hey, this is Ejen from Cosplay America, and I'm listening to Vitamin Geek podcast. It's good for the soul.
All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around. We are back for part 2 of our episode tonight. And we have a very special guest joining us, Miss Mika Nicole.
Hi.
She's there she is. She is a cosplayer, makes a wonderful Harley Quinn. and we're going to talk to her about her cosplay and kind of get her to join in our conversation about villains, since we want to just talk about baddies tonight. How you doing tonight, Mika?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Excellent. So first question I gotta ask this of everybody, like your origin story. How did you get into cosplay? How did you find out about it? How did this start for you?
Oh my goodness. I went to my first con back in 2006. I was like the only nerd in a small town at my high school, and we had a new guy, and he saw that I was wearing a Trigun t-shirt and was like, "Hey, I'm going to this anime convention. You should go with me." And I was like, "That's a thing? This happens?" And I went and saw the characters dressed up and fangirled a little bit. And the next year I made a terrible costume that was horrible. It was like the wrong color and too big. And I wore tennis shoes and had, no wig or anything like that. So my hair was totally the wrong color. But I had a blast and I fell in love with it. And ever since then I've continued and kept on.
Cool. You know that, like, since we started interviewing cosplayers, that's kind of a common thread. They always say something like, I was in this small town and I was the only one that was into this or something, and then they kind of found the fandom and kind of reached out and found that there's like a whole world out there of people who are into the same stuff.
Right.
That's cool. Williams, what you got, man?
Sorry, I was responding to a message. Skip me for a second.
I see that.
Skip me for a second. Go, Patrick.
Patrick, what you got?
What is your favorite character to play and why?
Oh my goodness. It's gonna have to be Harley Quinn, because I can pretty much do whatever and it's not out of character. I can act like a complete crazy person or just act like an idiot all day and people just smile and laugh and just anything goes.
That's awesome.
All right, Hawkins, what do you got, man?
Okay, so do you make all your own costumes, or do you get people to help?
I make all of my own stuff.
Nice. What's the hardest costume you've ever had to make?
I just finished. I try to challenge myself a little bit with each new costume, and every once in a while I kind of do an easier one just to give myself a break. I just finished a female barbarian from Diablo 3,
Right.
and it was a challenge. I would say the hardest one I've ever made is probably my Lady Sylvanas from World of Warcraft, because I had never made armor before, and so I had no idea what I was doing, and it took way longer than I expected, and I was working on it like the day before the con, of course, like all cosplayers, but it was kind of a nightmare.
Nice. Oh yeah, I see it in your photos here. No, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
She is my favorite WoW character, by the way.
Oh, I love her. I think I will probably remake it now that I know what I'm doing.
There you go.
So how long have you been doing conventions?
I've been doing them since 2006. I started making my own stuff. When I first started cosplaying, I tried to make my own, and then I bought a few, but I have been making all of my own stuff officially since 2008. But I've been cosplaying since 2006 and going to cons since 2006.
Well, you've definitely leveled up as we look through your pictures.
Thank you.
What's the longest amount of time you've ever spent on a costume?
4 months.
Oh wow, which one was that?
Cassandra from Soul Calibur 4.
That is awesome. Soul Calibur is fantastic.
I love Soul
Corey
Calibur.
is a big fan.
I love Soul Calibur.
Anytime we have a cosplayer, I have to talk about fighting games.
That's okay.
Because
anytime we have anything, you talk about fighting games.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
So I have to ask if you like fighting games so much, are you a fan of Street Fighter? Like classic
Oh
Street
my god.
Don't even go there, sweetie. You've done lost the whole thing.
Withdraw your question.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's over.
It's over?
It's over.
He lives.
Fan of broke
that's a no?
characters.
Oh,
hands down my favorite video game of all time.
really? I used to play. I would come home every day from elementary school growing up and play and beat Super Street Fighter 2 as Chun-Li, like every day. It was ridiculous.
Okay, this has now become my favorite interview ever. Very quickly.
Okay, so I have a
Corey
question
just
that's
got an
related to
instant
that now.
erection.
Hey, Brian, weren't you going to bed, dude?
Oh yeah. Good night, everybody. Did I get a chance to ask a question or
ask a question?
Who would?
And then Eric's got the floor right after you. Okay.
Okay. What's the worst costume you've made, and then what's a horrible costume you saw somebody else dressed up as?
I will not answer the second one because I try to be nice, and my opinion on cosplay is if you're having fun, you're doing it right. I feel like everyone's gonna, you don't know what they were working with, and they might not know what they're doing, so I try not to rip on other people's costumes because I used to be terrible, and it took a lot of effort to get better, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about anybody else's costume, but I will answer the one about my terrible costume, and that would be Tamari from Naruto. I don't think anything on it was correct besides the giant fan, and I had a friend that spilled hair dye on it the day of the convention, so even that was bad, but everything about it was just completely awful.
I will say the worst one I saw, it's not a cosplay, but it was these people dressed up as, like it was before the iPads came out, and they were giant tampons, and it said iPads on them. It was pretty gross.
I don't know if I love it or hate it. I think that's hilarious.
Wait,
I think I'd have to
what?
shake your hand.
Do I really have to repeat that?
Did you say people would cosplay as tampons or iPads?
They were labeled iPads.
It was before the iPads came out, and
I must
was
have
making
missed
fun
that
of the
craze.
name.
I'm sorry.
Oh man.
That's pretty hilarious.
Anyway, moving on.
Eric, what was your question, buddy?
Okay, my first question was, I was going to word it in a way where I was going to take a jab at Balrog on Street Fighter, so we'll ignore that question. But
Brian left us, by the way. Good night, Brian.
Anyway, moving on. No, here's a good question. It's a question we had earlier. Are you aware of the Sci-Fi Channel show Just Cause you're fixing to do?
Yes.
Heroes of Cosplay.
Heroes of Cosplay?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
Well, there's a big debate going around all social media right now. Like, what is your thoughts of cosplay getting more mainstream? Because there was a post in, what was the paper, Corey? New York
Times.
And the person who wrote it, you could just tell he didn't really kind of get the concept of what cosplay is.
Right.
And the way he worded it, I mean, this isn't quoting, but it's kind of like, what's these kind of crazy people just dress on these weird stuff? It's kind of a waste of time. I mean, that's what I kind of took from his article. Again, that's not an exact quote. But how would you feel? How do you feel about cosplay going more mainstream, getting more attention?
I mean, I don't really see anything wrong with it. I think it's kind of cool that the hobby that I've grown up loving is getting accepted, I guess, a little bit more as a thing. I just hope that nothing negative comes from it, like people that are just attention seeking and they don't really like the characters or the scene, because that's what makes the cosplay scene so awesome, is that you're in love with this character, you're in love with this video game or this anime or this comic book, and you get to go share that passion with other people that love the same thing. So I just hope that it doesn't bring, anyone into the scene that's just in it because it's starting to get more attention. But I mean, I've personally never experienced any of the fake geeks that everyone is so afraid of. I've never personally experienced any of those people, but I mean, I don't know. I don't see anything negative about it becoming mainstream. I think a lot of positive things could come from it, but I don't really know.
Just holding out judgment for the first episode, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this goes. I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I just think it's cool because, I mean, I don't know. I like shows about the stuff that I'm into. Like, I like Face Off because they make masks and stuff, and I'm into, Halloween masks and shit like that. So I think, at the very least, the show is about a hobby that I really am enjoying right now in my life. So
definitely,
it can't be too bad,
No, I mean, and if anything else, it could bring in more people that like when I was a kid and I had no idea that there were anime cons and there were groups of people that dressed as these characters. It could, it becoming more mainstream, a lot more people could find out about it and get involved in it at an earlier age and get to find their niche in life, because that's kind of what it is you get into the scene and you're like, oh, there are other people like me, and it's a really exciting thing. So shows like this could make that happen for more people, which is pretty cool.
Exactly.
People worry about posers and, people are just trying to ride the train. But, I mean, I'm okay with people like that if it does help the people that really get passionate about it find out about that kind of thing.
I've never really understood the whole, I know that recently there was the whole fake geek girl thing, and as a girl who grew up as a nerdy kid, and but the way I kind of looked at that is, all the girls I know really do like their characters. Like, why on earth would you spend that time and money making that costume if you didn't like the character? But even if these fake geek girls did exist, I don't understand.
Return of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I like it.
Something happened.
It's just in. Skype sucks.
It does. I think that's definitely what happened.
If I may interject, I'm really digging all the sculpting and everything that you've done on that barbarian costume. I think that is absolutely, really, really immaculate.
Thank you so much. I have way too much fun in that costume.
It shows, but I mean it's great. What all did you make the pieces out of? Like the armor pieces.
I made it all out of Worbla and craft foam.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what Worbla is?
No, I do not.
It's like a thermoplastic, and it's awesome. You just heat it up and shape it, and then it cools off, and it hardens like armor, and it's just amazing to work with. But yeah, it's all made out of Worbla and craft foam.
That's awesome. That is a really awesome cosplay costume.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you did a killer job on that. That turned out great.
Thanks.
How long did that take to make?
It took a couple of months, I think, but 2 or 3. And I'm actually working on an axe for it. It's not done. I just had friends that were doing other Diablo costumes, and they asked me to wear it. But I'm actually making a giant axe and then her giant sword that she's got in the fan art.
Cool. You could modify something like that and do like a Masters of the Universe kind of thing with that, maybe.
Ooh.
I got a question. I was looking back at some of your pictures, and you did Starfire.
Yes.
What did you use to become orange?
To become orange, I used I don't know how to say it. It's Mehron or something. Mehron. It's just like theater body paint, and it just rubs on like lotion. And that orange is actually like comic book Starfire orange, not animated series Starfire orange. But that's what I used.
Yeah, it's very cool looking. It's almost like, I mean, it really works for this. Like, if I saw a girl walking around not at a con like that, I'd be like, wow, this is the worst spray tan ever. Right. But in this application, perfect.
Right, but I mean, when you look at Starfire, that's kind of what you think is, wow, that's
exactly.
bad tan.
Okay, since you like Starfire, how do you feel about Teen Titans Go?
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard really bad things about it. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
My daughter does not like it.
Really?
She said it's not true to the Teen Titans, so she doesn't like it.
Aww.
There's like absolutely no crime fighting going on
really?
ever. Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's made for very small children, and it's very happy and ridiculous and goofy, which I'm watching it.
Now, who needs all that happy, goofy stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, for what it is, it's decent.
Oh, I'll have to watch it. I'm a little nervous now.
Now, this Harley Quinn, you've got several pictures of in like I don't know, like a can dress?
My steampunk Harley Quinn.
Okay, steampunk.
Right.
So you sewed all that stuff?
I did, yes.
Very impressive.
God, that's impressive.
Even the ruffles, which takes forever and really sucks.
That's my wife's favorite. She's all about villains. Even if you we watch Star Wars or whatever, she's all about like Boba Fett or Darth Vader or something like that. And when we watch Batman, she sees Harley Quinn on the screen, she's cheering.
Oh, I love Harley Quinn. That was actually inspired by the Gotham by Gaslight comics. I was like, well, Harley's not technically in those, but what if she were?
She totally could be.
Yeah. Well, like in the Arkham game, isn't she kind of steampunky, kind of the way they've made her look now, which I think really looks great.
I do too. I like it too. And I know that this is a guilty pleasure of mine, but I know everybody hates the new 52 Suicide Squad Harley, but I actually love it. So I'm probably the only Harley fan you'll talk to that says that, but I do love Suicide Squad, and I like her new look. I think it's ridiculous, but it works for her.
Yeah. She's totally out of her mind.
Ridiculous is right up her alley.
Yeah. She's totally out of her mind.
I know, but she's adorable.
Yeah.
So hey,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say, I see
think it died again.
Finn?
Oh,
Oh no.
Ben
It's just
died.
in. Skype sucks.
Hello?
He's speaking
hear me?
Swahili again.
Am I back?
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah, okay.
You're
So
good.
did none of that come out? All right, have you ever done a Mass Effect cosplay? How about that?
No, but I will soon because I'm
No?
like crazy about Mass Effect. Like crazy about Mass Effect. I will be doing Commander stuff soon.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's my favorite computer game. So
Just a suggestion, and I don't believe I've seen it yet. I'd like to see a steampunk Mass Effect cosplay.
You know what? If I make it and then I decide to retire it, I'll tear it up and steampunk it.
I've been to a bunch of conventions. I've never once seen anybody do Mass Effect in a steampunk form.
I haven't either, and it could work.
it could work, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That'd be real funky.
Mm-hmm.
Because are any of y'all familiar with the game Dead Space?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've just now started seeing.
That was one of the comics that Corey gave us today, actually.
Was it?
No, it was Captain Midnight and Mass Effect.
But I've recently seen some
Mass
Isaac
Effect.
Clarke suits turn to the steampunk.
Oh. He meant Dead Space.
Oh, okay.
Man, Skype sucks.
Did I miss that comment? Holy crap.
Dude, that's
Skype gave you
that's what
some
we
Dead
need.
Space.
Female steampunk Isaac from Dead Space.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice. Very nice.
So I'm gonna ask this controversial question of you,
Uh-oh.
and just be honest. I think I already know the answer, but DC or Marvel?
This is gonna surprise you. I'm so sorry to my favorite character in the world, but Marvel.
Word.
Oh no!
That's right.
How quickly this interview took a 180.
Sorry. I do love DC. I do love DC dearly. I don't like Superman, but I do love most
right.
DC. But I like Marvel more. I can't help it. I just do.
That sucks.
Hey.
Yes, exactly.
Hey.
I think we'll hunt you down, man.
Bring it.
Chugging the haterade over there.
Yeah, I could do everything. I'm Superman. Look at me.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
See?
But
That's
I
right.
get deathly ill over a substance they apparently sell at Kmart because everyone has it.
That's right.
Yeah.
A planet that was
That was a
destroyed.
Kmart.
Million-
Hit Earth.
Who even shops at Kmart anymore? Come on.
No, it's like Girl Scout cookies. They do door-to-door sales for kryptonite.
The Thin Mint.
What's wrong with Kmart?
That'll be the new Girl Scout flavor next year. My daughter's in it.
Yes. Kryptonite. You're welcome, Girl Scouts. You can have that idea for free.
Yeah.
Okay, so Skype's really breaking up for me. Are y'all saying Kmart sells kryptonite?
Yes.
Okay, 'cause I hear Girl Scout cookies, Kmart kryptonite.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna have like Girl Scouts out in front of the Kmart selling kryptonite cookies next.
Okay.
next
In the DC universe, that works, though.
yeah.
DC Universe, that makes perfect sense. It's all illogical.
are Girl Scouts sell
Okay,
kryptonite
hey.
cookies?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm starting to second guess my asking of this question now.
Okay.
You
Go
asked
for
it,
it, man.
buddy.
I did ask it. I asked the hard-hitting questions.
did.
So hard hit it.
You're the tough interviewer, man.
I know. Ugh.
How many more
Trying to get to the
softballs
bottom
you
of
got
things.
down there?
Let's see. How many? Okay, what are some of your favorite conventions that you've been to over the years, and what are some that, like, if someone's gonna go to, let's say someone's gonna go to 3 conventions a year, what are the 3 conventions they just can't miss?
Oh my goodness. I would say 3 conventions they can't miss. Dragon Con, because it's amazing. It's like a
Yay.
little town of nerd, and it's just wonderful. I want to grow up there. It's awesome. Tokyo and Tulsa is here in Tulsa, and it's kind of what I consider my home convention, and it's amazing, and the people that run it are awesome, and it's turning into such a good con. I'm really proud of it. I go to that every year. It's really, really good. And I'm gonna have a tie. I'm gonna name 4. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But
Oh, it's cool.
A-Con in Texas is pretty good, and there is a con in Arkansas that is kind of small, but if you live in the area, it's growing, and it's a really good little con, and it's called GlitchCon, and I have to mention it because I'm a guest there later this month, and I love the people that run it because they're the best. So.
Awesome.
But if you could pick any con to go to, you'd have to go to like San Diego Comic-Con and BlizzCon. Like, why would you not? I've never been, but I will someday, probably next year.
What about
Next
Gen
year.
Con?
I would go. And there's like
There
new
you go.
Doctor Who Con in Texas, apparently. I want to go to that too.
Is that the name of it?
I think it's called Who Con. What is it? I don't know what it's called.
Who Con?
Okay.
Who Con.
I was gonna say
I may be
Doctor
making
Who
that up.
Con sounds so clunky. They call it like TARDIS Fest or something.
Oh my
you know?
god, that needs to happen. That's the best name.
It's actually called Who Fest.
Who Fest?
Who Fest.
Okay, I love that.
Who Fest.
That's better.
Because it sounds like all the Who's down in Whoville.
Did you say
Yeah,
Rufus?
Dr. Who's.
It's Who Fest in November in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
And it's sold out. No door passes will be sold.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, butts. I didn't know that. Why'd you have to tell me that?
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Because we not only ask the hard-hitting questions, we also deliver bad news every day.
Well, thanks, guys.
We're pretty good at it.
So, anybody got any more questions?
I'm kind of dumbfounded because Skype's been breaking up for me the entire time. Last
So
thing
you
I
have
heard
no
was
idea what's happening.
no.
You sound good, though.
I heard, who is Rufus?
Who Fest.
Who? Oh, sorry.
Rufus.
Yeah, Doctor
Rufus
Who.
is actually my superhero alter ego.
There you go.
There you
And
go.
also the host of Who Fest.
And
All I
also
know is
Who Fest.
I typed in Who Fest and it popped up for Chattanooga, Tennessee. So why have I not heard of this?
I'm pretty sure it's in Texas.
It's in. Yeah, it says Dallas. And
Oh,
then
this is something entirely different. Sorry.
Well, the Who Fest in Chattanooga is actually the folk art festival that we have every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with Doctor Who at all.
So don't show up there in
Oh.
my Weeping Angel costume then.
No.
Be awkward for
I mean,
everyone.
you
Right.
could. People would want to take pictures and stuff.
You'd be
hang out.
spreading
They'd be like,
cosplay.
oh.
Just have a
Spreading
bucket
cosplay
in
to
front of
new
you.
members.
If you had a bucket in front of you, you'd get money. Wait,
Yeah, it's
isn't,
like one of those living statues.
isn't Jim Mahaffey somebody who created Doctor Who? No? Okay.
I have no idea.
I have
don't
no
know.
idea.
One of the guys who is actually going to be at the Who Fest, his name is Joe Dalick.
I'm
Oh my
sorry, guys. I'm reading all the programming here for Who Fest, and it doesn't look that exciting.
Thank you for joining us for this reading of a con that we're not going to.
Yeah, this
All right. Oh,
this is like the worst thing ever. Who would want to go to Who Fest?
I don't know.
in downtown Chattanooga or in Texas?
Texas. This thing is not really a Doctor Who Fest at all.
One of the
It's
only
not?
Doctor Who
Aw.
there is a good Doctor Who convention that happens. It's in Mississippi. I cannot remember the name of it right offhand, but it's affiliated with Timegate, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. Those are two really good conventions. The one in Mississippi, I've heard it's really good. Never been to it though.
I bet it's called something Mud. Muddy Doctors.
Muddy Doctors.
I don't know, dude.
I would watch that.
So Mika, everybody can find you on your Facebook page
Yes.
at facebook.com/Mika Nicole Cosplay.
Yes.
Just spelled exactly like it sounds, guys.
Yep.
So
Yes, Mika, not Meeka.
people spell it that way?
All of the time.
That's interesting.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
These are people who haven't played Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Exactly. Oh, I hate Rainbow Mika. Why you gotta be like that?
I was going to suggest that for a future cosplay.
She is terrible.
Oh.
I didn't say she was good.
Oh, no. Nothing about her.
I'm a Balrog player, so
Like I said, he's a fan of broke characters.
Bro.
not broken. He's straight up not broken at all.
He straight up lets Corey win all the time.
He just lets me. He lets me do my thing.
And his backstory is very questionable.
All I want is my money.
And
That's
little
it.
kids.
What?
Did you know that his name isn't actually supposed to be Balrog?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact.
It's Mike Bison.
Yeah. Which I
They
think
didn't
would have
want
been
to be
better.
Mike Bison's Punch
It
Out.
would have been.
It would have been better.
Wait. Well, most people like I've been playing Street Fighter competitively for a while. I'm not really doing it right now, but like at tournaments and stuff, people just call him Boxer.
Why? That's just.
And Vega is called Claw, and
What?
M. Bison is called Dictator.
M. Bison should be
Dudley,
called
gentlemen?
Doucheface because he's horrible. I hate fighting him. He's a nightmare. You get him all the way down, and then he does that stupid skate across the screen thing and just whoops your ass. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, totally. You can say shit, ass, whatever. It's
Oh,
cool.
We have the little E on our
Whatever.
thing, so.
Brian was trying to remind us that it's a family show, and I was like, "Shut up."
We lost
it's all
our
good.
family show back in like episode 2 or 3.
I
Yeah,
think it was the end of one when it.
back when Brian pissed me off, I was like, "Screw it, we're getting explicit right now." Okay, so Mika, is there anywhere else you want to plug or anything?
The performance group. I'm the director of a performance group, so you can find all that. We do. We go to cons and do performances in cosplay. Usually they're really fun and ridiculous. A lot of silly things happen. It is not an all ages event. Usually it needs to be 16 plus or 18 plus because our actors are inappropriate and ridiculous. But we're called Chemia Creations, and we can be found at facebook.com/xchemiacreationsx.
Excellent. And do you? I know a lot of cosplayers do like store envy and prints and things like that to make money for their costumes. Do you do anything like that?
No, not right now. I've had some requests for it, but not right now.
All right, cool. And will you be at Dragon Con?
I wish. I can't make it this year, but I will in spirit.
This is actually my first year going to Dragon Con.
Ugh.
I'm pretty excited. It's like Eric's 10th, I think.
Yeah.
If Felicia Day is there, could you just bring her back for me? That's all I want in the world.
I think Eric and I together could probably carry her. So
That's all I don't ask for much, guys. Come on.
she looks pretty portable, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, she does.
All right, cool. Okay, well, are you guys stick around for our villains discussion?
Sure.
Yes. I love when the guest stays. That's my favorite. All right, so since we were interviewing the premier Harley Quinn cosplayer, I decided that doing villains would be kind of in the same wheelhouse. So basically, let's just kind of go around the table and talk about what makes a great villain. We did talk about this in an earlier episode when everybody kind of picked their own topic, and Ben was like, what makes a good villain? And then we had a really good discussion of that, but that was 20 something episodes ago. So Posey, what are some qualities you look for in a villain that you want to stick around?
Well, first of all, it has to have a good story. I mean, I don't really care too much if you're looking at comic books, I don't care too much about what their power is, as long as they have a good story. Like Doctor Doom, I still can't even tell you what his power is, but he has like a lasting quality because, he's the scarred king of Latveria or whatever. So, they have to have a good backstory. They have to be conflicted. I'm really not into. I love the Joker, but the whole I'm just evil because I'm evil is played out. There has to be, in my mind, there has to be a reason. And I think originally with the Joker, the idea was that when he fell into the acid that caused him to be white and yada yada yada, that kind of made him crazy, and I can buy that to an extent. But to some extent, I think that you have to have a reason why you're doing things, and that can get twisted over time. Originally it starts off that you're just getting revenge, and then over time you become obsessed with it. It doesn't matter what what you do, you're continually going to be considered evil. And then, I guess my third thing about what makes a good villain is just, what they mean to their respective hero. Because, you put like Zod with Spider-Man, and that ain't gonna work. That shit's crazy. And it's not because don't even think about Zod being a Superman villain and Spider-Man being a Marvel hero. Those two, they just don't coincide. I mean, you can't really. Red Skull and Spider-Man don't really mix. It wouldn't be a good villain-hero combination. So, it really has to go with the hero in that scenario to make them a good villain too. You have to have good chemistry with that hero, or it's just not fun either. So, yeah. Moving on.
Awesome, man. Yeah, very, very, very good points. Eric, what do you like in your villains, dude?
Mine boils down to just 5 distinct characteristics. And most villains, number 1 is powerful. Most villains, they're staggeringly powerful. In other words, they have a way of making things bend to their will, whether it be people, objects, places, anything like that. Second one is intelligence. That doesn't mean your villain is going to be intellectually gifted. It just means he's going to avoid making stupid decisions. Third one.
So not the Juggernaut, basically.
Right.
No. Yeah. He's. The Juggernaut's more of a henchman. He's not really a villain to me. When you think about it, he may be powerful and stuff, but like I say, in the 5 things they're missing. When you have all of them together, that makes a really formidable villain. Third one is immoral. And I like this. This one. This is what makes your villain. It's not like they lack the sense of right and wrong. On the contrary, as like villains, they subscribe to the moral code. They're willing to violate or accept moral principles, to violate the accepted moral principles in order to accomplish their goals. And determination. Fourth one, that's very self-explanatory. But wounded villains, I think they reflect like the greatest truth. Like, instead of like being born a monster, rather people who are turning into monsters. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Anakin Vader for Anakin Skywalker. He wasn't born. He was born a whiny ass and he turned into a badass.
The ultimate rags to riches story.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, those are just 5 basic principles that any good villain, really a formidable villain. There's things I've left out, many that could be out of that list. But that's the main 5 that needs to be in any villain, I think.
Cool. Patrick Sykes, I know you like bad guys, so tell me a little bit about why you like bad guys.
Because they get to do all the fun stuff.
Right?
Exactly.
Because the heroes, the heroes are acted upon by the villains. The villains get to do the stuff. The heroes have to fend that off. They're acted upon, versus where the villains get to do all the fun stuff. You look at villains like, like the Joker, for instance, all the crazy wild stuff he gets to do. It's just, all different kinds of villains and get to do all that kind of stuff. And some of the best villains are the ones that they believe what they're doing is right, even though a sane, normal person would say, "Are you out of your freaking mind?" They may have started off even with a good intention that, what I'm doing is for the greater good. This will all work out. But, any other person can tell you absolutely not, because it's going to come apart. There's no way this is going to work out.
It's just like, like in World of Warcraft, you're like, Alliance is good and the Horde is bad. But if you're in the Horde, you're looking at the Alliance as the bad guys.
Right.
If you're in the Horde, you win.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate to interrupt.
Okay.
What did you say again?
I said if you're in the Horde, you win.
Okay, it's all you know.
Okay.
Got cut out, man. I'm like, oh my god.
That's cool. And lastly, a great villain has no really moral scruples to hang them up. They'll do whatever it takes, no matter what it takes. Even if they have to throw their own mom in the mix, that has to, get offed or whatever. Whatever it takes to get what they want, they'll do it. It doesn't matter.
So you're saying that they're driven.
They're pretty much driven, and it doesn't matter who gets killed, what gets destroyed, as long as they get what they're out to go after. Just doesn't matter. Nothing will get in their way.
All right, very good. I didn't know you were so evil, Si.
Thank you very much. That's my night job.
All right, Ben, talk to me.
All right. I look at villains in two different basic categories. The first category is the more simple category, and these are, I call them forces of nature. And these are the people that are more like the Joker and such, that are kind of evil for evil's sake. And you can kind of lump the crazies in here a little bit. But it's kind of like Mike Myers. You don't know the reason. There is no reason. It's just something. It's something that is, and you have to deal with that. And the good thing about that type of villain is you can have a villain. I prefer intelligent villains, but you can have a villain that's not necessarily intelligent. Like Michael Myers does not necessarily display intelligence. He's just a force. Something that you're going to have to survive if you can. And then the other type of villain is the villain who thinks he is right. Most, I think, people who can be classified as sane never believe, even the ones that do evil things, never really believe that the things they do are evil. They just think that people don't understand like they do. They have a completely skewed point of view. But that makes them hard to reason with because they feel justified in the actions that they make. And most of them are ends justifies the means type of people, but some of them even are not. Some of them are like, you just don't understand why I'm doing this. This is actually a good thing.
So like General Zod.
Right.
Like he's destroying everybody, but he's doing it because that's what he's programmed to do, and that's what he believes is the right thing.
Right. And you have your villains that think, I'm going to destroy the world because this world is terrible. Well, as far as they're concerned, the world has been terrible to them. The world deserves to be destroyed, right? So, and everybody else just hasn't realized that yet. So, those are the two basic types of villains that I look for. And of course, there's different shades of each one, but I think if you stay true to those two things, then you can have a good villain.
I like it. Very good. Mika, what do you think makes a great villainous character?
Aside from the wonderful things that you guys have already said, I think a good villain is overconfident and intelligent. I think those are two really important factors that a lot of my favorite villains personally have. They have that. They don't think about, can I accomplish that? They just think about how, and they make it happen, which goes back to that determination. But villains like Moriarty from Sherlock and the Master from Doctor Who, just a certain kind of crazy and a huge ego with some overconfidence, I think that makes a good villain.
They're like megalomaniac.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That's the first time I've ever accurately dropped that word in a conversation. I'm really proud right now.
Well done.
Use of that word.
I'm kind of a sucker for a sympathetic villain because I grew up on Universal horror films, so like Frankenstein. Yeah, he kills a little girl, and yeah, he's freaking scary, but there's a backstory to him that's really sad, and it creates a lot deeper emotion than something like, oh, there's just a terrorist and he's just blowing shit up, and that kind of story. Or like even Jason Voorhees, he's a kid, he has all this traumatic crap happen to him, then he just walks around cutting people's heads off with a machete.
Finally
for
snapped.
Like 12 movies. Yeah, exactly.
In 20 years, he's been killing people.
I get into that more so. But like I love the Joker in almost every incarnation. So I think a lot of it has to do with, like, for me, like the design of the character. Like, first off, I want them to look cool. They don't necessarily have to. I don't know. The Joker always pretty much looks cool. Like, you look at the guy and you're like, man, he's got balls to walk around with this ratty purple suit and
and clown makeup.
Badly, exactly. Yeah. Stuff like that. I think the design has a big effect on me. And there's some villains that look stupid and they don't last the test of time.
Right.
None come to mind right off bat. But
The Creeper from Batman. I love him, but he looks. That's kind of the point, though, is for him to look stupid.
Yeah.
He sounds bad.
There's also a Creeper on
Google
Scooby-Doo.
a picture. It's pretty.
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's he looks real zany.
Yeah,
he could have done well on
wearing
the
a
TV
Speedo
show.
and a boa.
Yeah, he could have been like if the TV show had gone another season, they had to have put him on there.
He was pretty wonderful.
But and like Posey said earlier, dude, it's okay. So everybody read Superman Red Son. I know we got a lot of Superman haters in here, but that book is like the exception to the rule of Superman having this like one-dimensional kind of character. In the book, Lex Luthor, who is, I guess, arguably Superman's just ultimate villain, right? Basically, he's an okay guy. I mean, he is full of himself, and he's incredibly intelligent, but he starts doing these things, these villainous things, because of Superman. Like, Superman's presence makes him. And I guess that kind of goes back to Batman and the Joker too, right? Like the Joker in Dark Knight and multiple other books, I'm guessing, he says, basically when Batman's gone, I'm done. Like Dark Knight Returns, the Joker's in a freaking coma until Batman comes back. Like if you don't have a hero, then there's no reason to have a villain.
Well,
right?
No one's really, the Joker's so, he's another one of those that's got a really huge, he's got a lot of layers to him, and one of those is he has to have somebody there to give him purpose because he needs someone to challenge him. No one else can come up against him. Batman's the only person who can really match him.
So every time Batman beats him, he ups the ante.
Yeah, keeps going at it. I mean, thinking he's going to beat him when, it's like, come on, man. It's not going to happen.
Exactly. I think the most important part of it is the dynamic between the hero and the villain.
Yeah.
If that's done properly, then you're going to like the villain more and you're going to like the hero more, right?
Well, I like what you said earlier too about the vulnerable, or I can't remember how you put it, vulnerable villains. Sympathetic villains, yeah.
Like you can find, the audience can find somewhere to relate to that villain,
right?
When they have a sympathetic backstory, whereas like, Joker, it's kind of hard to relate to him,
Right, but I think that's a good point because, having somebody that you like that is doing these horrible things pulls you in a whole lot more than somebody that you just despise and you're like, man, I wish that guy would get shot in the face. But somebody you're like man, if he had just turned that corner instead of this corner, this whole thing could have been avoided, and he's a great guy, but we really do need to stop him. That's a lot more emotionally engaging than just a two-dimensional character that's just evil.
Yeah, like a good example of that is the governor.
Right.
Like, yeah. When you read the Walking Dead comics, you hate his ass. When you watch the TV show, he's a little more charismatic, but he's still an asshole. But if you go back and you read those novels, like The Rise of the Governor, you start to see why he's that way. And my wife read the comics before I did, and she's like, God, the governor's so horrible. I hope they don't put him on the show. And then they did.
Of course.
but when she went back and read The Rise of the Governor, by the end of that book, she was like, I'm starting to like him. And I'm like, he did some heinous shit, yo, in that comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the comic, he has no redeemable values whatsoever.
Yeah, but you're seeing him at the end of that whole journey. I mean, that's the end product of what happened to that guy.
Yeah. Because we see what's really happened to him at the end of the third season. He goes all the way down, and he hits rock bottom.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Why do you guys think that people, and I don't guess it was this way back years and years and years ago before we were born, but in recent years, people have really started kind of having a love of villains. You know, like when I was a kid, there was no way I could find a poster with like Jafar and Maleficent and Scar on it, but
like the Disney villain series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then years ago, I found one at Walmart, and I said, I gotta have that. I mean, why do you guys think that people now are so infatuated with villains?
Well, I think it's kind of a roller coaster, like a pendulum, as far as the culture goes. 'Cause if you think back to the Wild West, you know, they had, how many dime novels did they have about like Jesse James and these outlaws that really were not nice people? I mean, they shot people and took their money. But all of a sudden, people are fantasizing about how, well, maybe they're really great, you know, and they're buying all this stuff about them. So, and then, you know, you come to the 40s and stuff, and, you know, more modern age, and it swings the other way. You know, you want heroes, you want good guys, people that are going to protect you. So this is, you know, when Superman and Captain America start coming in and stuff like that. So, and I think we're kind of swinging back the other way again. We're getting more disillusioned with, you know, straight up good people that can protect us, and we realize there's more gray out there, and bad guys aren't necessarily all bad in real life. So we're becoming more fascinated with that line that gets walked by the villains.
Point. Posey, what do you think, man?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to the attitude. I mean, you're dealing with a new generation of people now. Unfortunately, they're all entitled brats. But being entitled, but you know, I don't say that lightly. I mean, you know, the society has made them that, because, you know, you had the baby boomers who said, "Hey, we grew up poor, we didn't have a lot of stuff, so we're going to give everything to our kids," and you have a generation of self-entitled people. You know, and I'm one of those people. But then again, people who, they go to work, they don't have a good job. You saw this in the late 90s, and I'll bring up wrestling with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Dude was not supposed to be as big as he was. He was supposed to be a heel, but because people like the attitude, the whole, I guess they call it a tweener, someone who you want to, you know, that's why a lot of characters don't go full villainous, like Venom. Dude started off as a full, I'm going to eat your brains Spider-Man, to a, I'm going to help innocent people. Like, why? Right. It's because they knew that they had something there. I think it's just because, you know, heroes are too goody-goody. They represent the past. They represent their parents. And that's why the people are trending more towards villains.
And it's also too hard an act to follow. You know, you've got a good guy that never breaks the law, never does anything wrong, and you realize that you can never live up to that. But you can relate more to a villain who's, you know, probably trying to be good and just makes mistakes.
And it goes, that, and it's all emo. and I'm not, no, and I'm not saying that as a joke, but I mean, I am, and I'm not at the same time. But right. You know, emo's a big, you know, that whole craze a couple of years ago. I mean, like 10 years ago. Where people, oh, I'm so sad. I mean, villains are like that. You talk about it being a sympathetic villain, or you're having, you know, that whole thing where they're sad and that's why they're evil. That's the whole point. These people they're not happy with their lives. Neither are villains, and that's why they can gravitate and focus on them.
Right.
Dude, I'm not saying this like to just sound generic, but that shit is pretty deep. You just, I mean, seriously, it is like, and you brought up wrestling. That is a perfect example, because as soon as somebody is like Stone Cold, you know, comes out and starts chugging a beer and screaming, you know, bitch or whatever he says, and all that, they're like, oh, maybe we should make him more like, not necessarily squeaky clean, but we should make him a face. We should make him a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they did with Venom too. Like you said, man, that's a perfect example. Does anyone else have any villain stuff to say before we get into the top threes here?
Well, I don't know how to top Posey.
I don't. He just, dude. He literally just walked in. You know, he took the mic. He said, "Yo, this is how it is. Peace." Dropped that sucker on the floor and walked out.
That's just what I want to feel about it.
No, it's good.
From the heart, right, man? From the heart.
On the head. Perfect.
Well,
Yikes.
Well, I guess mine could be similar. Mine's basically because the villain is usually the outcast. But isn't that basically what you were saying, Posey?
Well, I mean, to an extent, yeah, and it's because the whole Radiohead song "Creep." I mean, that's what this is. It's villains are the creep. I'm a loser. I can't ever win, and people are like, I never win either. Maybe I'm like the Joker.
They're also that
Megamind.
loser that gets to be a badass sometimes, and that's
Right. There you go.
Mine's take on it's not really the emo kind of take. It's like, oh well, I guess I'm just gonna go out and kill somebody since no one wants to talk to me. No, mine's the whole outcast route. He is a guy, you know, that's stopped trying to fit in and has accepted this is what I am, man. This is the way it's going to be. And most of the time, they'll have some kind of talent or ability which will make him or her really exceptional. And unfortunately, this said person, you know, let's say they held onto a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and that is where at least most of the identification towards villains, you know, like their similarities were, what do you call it? When you see something in somebody.
You can just relate to it.
Yeah, relate.
Emulate.
Like, you know, like lots of us have found a way to deal with these feelings. Yeah, lots of us have. We found a way to deal with these feelings of resentment and turn them into positive. And say something like that who just seems harder to fit in than just being accepted. That's like,
It also gives them a skewed perception of values too, because you know, we value society because we have a place in society, even if it's sort of a different one than most people. But you know, the outcast villain looks at society as something that's worthless. You know, the people that are a part of it are worthless because they always thought that they were worthless.
Yeah.
So why should they value them if they were never valued themselves?
And in turn, they will simplify the world into a clear-cut, you know, good the hero, evil's the villain, instead of making us think about how complex conflicts in human society really are.
Right.
You know what you just made me think of when you were talking about the villain being an outcast?
What?
Human Centipede 2.
That movie's shit.
Hey,
Oh,
I'm not
man.
saying it's good, but
But
there you go.
it came to your brain.
All those movies should just be called ATM, ATM 2, ATM 3.
ATM, the saga continues.
ATM Reloaded.
ATM, The Reckoning.
Oh god. Okay, we are going to move along because I brought up Human Centipede. All right. So, Mika, basically how we usually do our top threes is like we'll go one at a time and kind of go with your third place pick. Then go around the table and then go to second, etc. What is your third place villain on your list, Mika?
Okay, I tried to pick mine. I tried to pick one from a show, one from a video game, and one from a comic. So I will pick, for my third place, I'm going to say the Elusive Man from Mass Effect.
Haha.
Because he is crazy smart. His backstory has just enough. I kind of feel bad for this guy, but he's also a gigantic douchebag. He makes you love to hate him. And as Commander Shepard, you hate him. I mean, you want to punch him in the face the whole game. He makes you so angry. But at the same time, it is kind of neat how he's pulling the strings from the beginning. And if you know anything about the Mass Effect universe, it has a fairly complex story. It's got a great story. And the books all go along with that. And he's pulling the strings from behind the scenes, and it's pretty neat. So he's going to be my third pick.
Well, and in the backstory, you can see why he would make some of the choices he makes. It makes sense at the time. It just kind of snowballs into something that is not good. But
I still hate him
in the beginning, it's...
I hate him for all that he put me through, but yes, I understand why.
Exactly.
Just to chime in, for those who have played Mass Effect and you haven't read any of the graphic novels or comics that were released, a lot of those stories are written by the same people who wrote the story for the game. So I highly suggest you read those because they connect really well.
Well, the game was put together by writers.
If you haven't read those books and you play and are a fan of the Mass Effect games, I suggest you find out what you're doing with your life because they are amazing.
Okay, awesome. Ben, what's your number 3, dude?
My number 3 would be Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty.
A man after my own heart.
I'm glad those were sighs of joy instead of sighs of disappointment.
I would hug you right now if it were appropriate and we were in the same room.
Right. Okay, so for why? Number 1, all my picks tonight had a personal impact on me. This is the first villain, especially in a Disney cartoon, that I ever heard say the word hell.
Yeah, me too, man.
And I mean, she was basically hardcore. Anybody who in the slightest way makes me take notice of them, I am going to just destroy their life. Because I can. I mean, that's a pretty powerful message. And then on top of that, she turns herself into a dragon. So
hell yeah.
I like how it's like real reason and then she turns herself into a dragon.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's just icing on the cake. She can
Clearly
become
you have your priorities in check, sir.
I thank you. I do.
All right, awesome. Sykes, what's number 3?
I just been revisiting lots of old stuff here lately, and as a whole, I just had to pick the Romulans from Next Generation because those guys were so undervalued. I mean, I know the Klingons were the big deal in the original series. When Next Gen came along and those stupid little Ferengi squirts wouldn't work out as a big villain, they finally did the smartest thing they could have ever done for that show, which was make the Romulans the biggest badasses you've ever seen in just about, next to the Borg, just about anything that's ever come across for Trek. And I just love that those guys, for, even though it's been hundreds of years until they finally find peace with the Federation at some point, they just never give up, man. I mean, you just cannot deter them. They are always up to something. It's never beyond their nature to be up to something. I mean, it just doesn't matter. I mean, I loved the last episode. I mean, the first season is really rough to watch. I mean, it's really bad acting, really, not the greatest stories in the world, and especially,
it was pretty low budget at the time.
Yeah, well, it was the most expensive television series at the time. It was $1.5 million an episode.
Really?
But $1.5 million every episode when it first started. It was extremely expensive in its day. And, I mean, just you get to the end of that first season, and, I mean, the Romulans just say, "We are back." I mean, it was like, how awesome is that? When you just tell somebody, you tell the flagship of the Federation, "We're back." So it's basically you're just spitting in their face saying, "I dare you to cross this line and tick us off because we'll kick your ass." I mean, they're just daring them to do something crazy. And the fact that they just took off with that and just they just gave them so much more to their characters and a race overall. I mean, they just didn't waste their time. I mean, they had an episode in the 3rd season, Yesterday's Enterprise, where there was an alternate timeline and Yara came back, but when she went back into or helped that Enterprise go back to where they were supposed to come from the original timeline, it set off a whole nother chain of events. And who was there at the core of it? The Romulans were there to cause the Klingon Civil War, which is where we're at now, rewatching the series. I mean, those villains as a whole, they're just remarkable. They just took something so small and just made them so huge.
Cool. Patrick, by the way, when Patrick talks about stuff, now everybody on the show has their own voice and their own opinions and their own flair. But when Patrick describes some shit, it doesn't matter what it is. Swampland, desert, dog poop. He speaks with so much vehement passion about everything that you're like, man, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but it sounds okay.
Thank you, sir.
And if anybody was going to bring up Star Trek this episode, it had to be you.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Eric, your turn, buddy. What's number 3?
Can you put me after people who aren't top setting the bar? So,
dude, the way
Come on, where's your passion?
It's the way the icons ended up on my screen.
Man, I wish y'all could hear y'all talk on my end because it keeps cutting out, and I'm hearing words I know y'all aren't saying, so it's really funny. Okay, most of mine are going to be from films because I'm a huge movie buff. So my third one is Roy Beatty. Before I say the movie, does anybody know where it's from?
Blade Runner.
Hey! Ryan Reynolds, yeah, that's right. Anyway, Rutger Hauer plays him in Blade Runner. It's like I was saying in my top 5 earlier, power, intelligence, determination. His will to live is almost as strong as his willingness to kill. And also, he's one of the chief antagonists to the film. But he's that also makes him kind of the victim. And sometimes the outcast who's also the victim. And he's also carrying a lot of enormous capacity for empathy. Shown later in the movie, spoilers if you haven't seen this great movie, when he saved Deckard's life. So
right,
that's my pick for number 3.
Awesome.
Confession: I've never seen Blade Runner.
Oh
really?
That's God.
Your problem.
Yeah, you need to fix that, Corey.
I tried to watch it at a point when I didn't have much of an attention span. It didn't work out.
Like yesterday.
Okay, you coming over here? We're gonna watch it on the new TV, dude.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Posey, number 3, dude.
Number 3. Well, I guess I'll have to go. Can we pick people that are real villains?
Yeah.
It's
wide open, right?
So I could say like Hitler and be like.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Because it was villains in media.
Well, he was in the media. He was like Times.
Not news media. Not the liberal news media. No.
I want to keep the show totally fictitious.
All right. Let's. I guess I'm gonna follow the guest lead here, and I'll go comic book, movie, video game. But I'm gonna have to go with the original OG villain for video games and say Bowser. Guys, he's pretty much a bad mother. Shut my mouth.
He is an a-hole for sure.
He is.
Why fill up on Peach's business?
Well, actually, what if
he's a hobby?
I've actually heard. What if maybe she's with Bowser and Mario just can't take it, and he's trying
I think that's what it is.
But he's conflicted too because
what lady wouldn't want up on that shell action?
Right. He's got spikes on it. It's awesome.
Dude, that shell was ribbed for her pleasure.
Seriously.
The nightmares are coming already.
My turn. Shut up. Don't interrupt your Romulan bullcrap.
Oh, you hater.
But no, he's gonna. He
henceforth known as the Romulan Soapbox Power Hour starring Patrick Sykes.
I'm saying he's conflicted too because in the game Super Mario RPG for the Super NES,
yes,
he turned. He was with him. He had to. He's like it's all about him. And so he's like, I don't want to work with Mario, but I guess I have to because this douchebag is still in my castle. Whoever the douchebag was in that game, I forgot. So my number 3 is Bowser.
Excellent.
And exactly, look, where did he get all those kids? It's because he was just banging Princess Peach.
He's been busy.
Dude, okay, the most annoying ass thing from games as a child was, sorry Mario, the princess is in a different castle.
Yes.
Right?
Can't she just park her ass and wait?
Right?
No, man.
All right, back around to me. My number 3. Where did my number 3 go? Okay. And I did not. I picked this before the show started.
Corey writes.
But now I'm really. Yeah, I always do. I actually do planning for the show a little bit. I'm glad I picked this now that we got Mika on here and we had the interview and stuff. I picked the man from Thailand, the king of the psycho power. And that is M. Bison, the dictator.
I hate you so much. You ruined my childhood.
Like I said, he likes broke characters.
Ew.
getting to fight Bison or Dictator or Vega, depending on what country you played the game in. Dude, he is hard as hell.
Right?
You know?
Hence the first syllable of his name.
Everything does a ton of damage. He is a dictator, which, you know, automatically makes him like kind of an upper echelon villain. You know, dictators are usually not a good thing. I always thought the design was really cool. The hat and the what do you call the shoulder pads? I don't know.
Shoulder pads?
Yeah, those. I don't know. Dude looks badass. I want some boots like that. And I want my fists to light up with blue energy whenever I want them to.
He did
That would
wear
be awesome.
greaves. I always thought that was nice.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, dude. And, I mean, okay, moves like the Psycho Crusher, that just sounds awesome. You know?
And
Sounds
what's
like a
more
badass
is
EP
that his
song.
hat stays on throughout all of that fighting.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how much he moves.
He completely captivated me as a kid. And then as I grew up and learned more about Street Fighter, I still thought, this guy's pretty awesome. I'll probably never dislike him. So,
Well, I'm more
M. Bison 3.
I gotta say, I'm more with Mika. I always hated him because he never let me win. So
I think he's the reason I started saying cuss words.
yeah, he was pretty terrible. You'd be like, I was blocking that, but it doesn't matter because he does a ton of damage anyway. So
Right, no, it doesn't.
Hey, I'm all for chip damage, okay?
Broken characters, right?
If you're blocking too much, you just need to lose. All right, back around to Mika. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be from one of my favorite shows in the world, Doctor Who. And it's going to have to be The Master. I love him so much. He's crazy and hilarious. And I love villains that laugh and then scream and then go back to laughing. Like, clearly he's not in his right mind. But he's got just enough tragedy that you feel so sorry for him. I always feel sorry for him. But he's terrible and really intelligent and crazy. And I just love him. I think
Awesome
anybody that
combination.
watches Doctor Who loves him.
Eric, do you love him?
I find him really annoying.
He's got that.
Eric,
He's got the.
Oh my god.
He's got the cool weapon too, right? Like it's not a sonic screwdriver; it just shoots lasers and evaporates people.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I have one of those in my home.
I found him annoying because I know his evolution from the classic series and the new series.
Yes.
It's like he never can have a straight damn storyline. It's always like he's saying he's crazy, so you don't know what. Half the time, I don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
Each story it changes so drastically that when how the hell they explain it to me. When a normal Time Lord, because he is a Time Lord, when normal Time Lords have their regeneration, instead of him going through the normal process, it's just scrambled his brain and eggs, and they get scrambled every single time.
Right.
So that's why he's really
each time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for the newer Master, I know that the recent Doctor Who doesn't follow the same rules, basically, that old classic Doctor Who follows, so I can kind of understand. But I'm just going to say that any villain that turns the entire world into versions of himself, I mean, that's kind of awesome.
Talk about a megalomaniac.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing will become me.
Everything.
All right, Hawkins, what's your number 2, dude?
Okay, I'm going to go with the villain that gives my favorite villain speech of all time, and that is Iago from the play Othello.
I thought you were talking about the bird from Aladdin. For a
right?
second.
That kind of, that throws people off sometimes.
I knew you weren't. I know what you're talking about.
Thank you, Posey.
So, how did it go?
But no, but I mean, if you think about it, and one of the things that really made this poignant for me, I mean, I had read Othello before, but then watching Wrath of Khan, and when Khan, I mean, he gives the speech at the end as he's activating the Genesis weapon. From hell's heart I stab at thee, for hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee. I mean, this guy is one of those forces of nature type of evil villains. He He is evil because he's evil. He is focused on you, and you will be destroyed no matter what. And, you know, in Othello, he succeeds. He wins. The bad guy wins. So that is an unusual twist. You know, usually the bad guy doesn't win, even this day and age. But
Well,
in
that
Othello,
was Shakespeare.
that was Shakespeare. But I mean, and that's the first really truly evil person that didn't have a reason. He just didn't like that guy, so he destroyed his entire life and then got away. So
Excellent.
there's my number 2 villain.
And then you said Iago. Is that how you say it?
Iago, yes.
Iago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so not the bird. Okay.
Call him yourself.
The bird has the same name, but
Sykes. Sykes, what's your number 2, man?
Hannibal Lecter.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
That guy he's so charming, yet just
Talk
don't
about intelligence
ever.
too. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the man is remarkably intelligent. I think another thing that's great about villains is choice. They can be so remarkably intelligent. If they really chose to do the right thing, they would be good people accomplishing great wonders for humanity. But people like Hannibal Lecter choose to be evil and give in to that evil compulsion. And when you see how brilliant the man is, I mean, when he gets out of his cell in Silence of the Lambs, I mean, you can't get any more brilliant than that.
Oh yeah,
Peeling the guy's face off.
Yeah. Well, and the way he does it too, it's like he was so elaborate. You know, he didn't have to do all that.
No.
But he did it because he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Panache, a little bit of panache there with his villainy, and then, like you said, that the fact that, you know, I mean, didn't have to go to that extreme, but he did, and the way he got out by cutting the guy's face off and putting it on his as a mask, so they couldn't even tell that it was him. And I mean, you know, it's absolute brilliance. And then, I mean, you get to Hannibal, and you see that he's got so much more going on than just, I mean, you could see that in Silence, but when you get to Hannibal, I think you can. Mm-hmm. It resonates more that there's more going on inside. I mean, he's actually even seems like a character who just wants to be left alone. But the fact that they keep pursuing him, he keeps, you know, things get worse and worse.
Right.
But and then you see Anthony Hopkins portraying this character who, if you read the book, is quite a bit different than the way that Hopkins plays him in the films. And he just makes him you just can't take your eyes off of them. That's another great thing about our villains. They are just so alluring. They have that allure that you just want to watch them. You want to see what they're going to do. You want to be around them even though you know it's not going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's just like you said, you know, it's like Ben said, they're just so amazingly intelligent. That's the great thing about Lecter. He's just so brilliant.
Well, I did love the play between him and Jodie Foster. I think one of my favorite scenes is when he's talking about, you know, villains leave, or serial killers collect trophies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And she says, you know, there's always a trophy somewhere. There's always some trail. And he was like, I never collected trophies from my my victims. And she's like, no, you ate yours.
Yeah, right.
And he just kind of grins and shrugs, and it's like, well, yeah, I did. It's like he totally admits it. He doesn't even, you know, he's like,
he has no shame. He has no shame. He revels in the fact that he does that.
Oh, yeah, he enjoys it, and he wants you to know that he enjoys it.
Yeah, and even the creepiest thing is when he doesn't blink. If you sit there and watch his speech when he's in that jail cell when they're about to catch Buffalo Bill and she's going to see him for the last time, if you notice that whole speech that they're talking about, that we finally find the root of, you know, Jodie Foster's character, find a root of Clarice's fears and everything, he's sitting there and he's staring at her and he's not blinking at all. To me, that was probably even more creepy and more and scarier than all the other atrocities that he committed in the film, just trying to get out.
So here's a fun fact about that scene.
Cool.
Both of them did that scene standing next to each other, but 3 feet apart, looking into the camera. They were at the same time, but they weren't looking at each other. They were looking into the camera. And what was supposed to happen during that, and they actually filmed all this, they were supposed to have a flashback to the barn, Jodie Foster as a young kid running into the barn and saving a lamb and running through the woods with this lamb, right? because he's telling the
Right.
story. And the director filmed the scene of them telling the story, and it was supposed to cut back and forth between them looking at each other and then going back to the flashback. And he said when he watched the playback of their performance, he said, as a director, I did not feel like that I could allow myself to not put that entire performance on the screen. So he cut the entire flashback scene, all that money they spent on that, he just wasted it and said, no, this is too awesome. We got to put the whole thing in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did they ever put that scene on or any of that footage on a supplement on a DVD, perhaps?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That would be awesome to see, though.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So there you go, number 2.
Okay. Patrick's soapbox. The legend continues. Eric Williams, number 2.
My number 2 is Alex DeLarge.
Yes. Bit of the old ultra violence.
The terrible embodiment of society gone to the dogs. And pretty much how Alex just kind of lives that. If you don't know who he is from Clockwork Orange.
Right.
Alex kind of lives up the staple, diet on drug-enhanced milk, brutal violence, sexual assault. According to the Daily Mail, this is where we'll be as a country sometime in the next few years or so. So,
I love that movie. Dude.
Yeah. There's really not much to say about that character, but
dude, I mean, it's really like that's the thing about that character though, and how McDowell plays him. You watch that movie and you kind of hate to, but you're kind of like, man, this dude's awesome,
yeah,
and he's doing some awful shit too, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, but he does it with style, though.
Exactly. Very awesome character design too.
So yeah, that's my pick for number 2.
Nicely done,
Cool.
sir.
Posey, what's your number 2, man?
Okay. So now we've left video games behind. And we've traveled.
We have, because we're all old.
And we traveled to the world of printed pictures with words and little bubbles.
The only way Corey will read a story.
Yes, I am referring to comic books. So my favorite villain in comics, I would have to say, is probably Magneto.
Ooh, good choice.
That is a good choice. Yes.
Again, it goes back to now. He's a very interesting villain because, in all accounts, this guy should be a hero. His story is one of persecution and overcoming the persecution. But instead of seeing that as I'm going to make people understand that I'm not as bad as you thought I was, he says, if you're going to kill my family because and he was Polish, and I think he may have, and I'm not so sure he was actually, quote, Jewish in the comics, and he may have been, I don't know. But if you're going to kill me because I'm Jewish or Polish, I'm going to kill you because you're not a mutant. And that was his thing. But again, he goes back to this whole thing of respect. Him and Professor X, Charles Xavier, whatever you want to call him, Prof X, PX90, whatever, P90X. This guy, I mean, it was even in the movies. The amount of respect between these two individuals never died, never faltered, and it didn't show a weakness in Magneto's character. And I think for a minute there, you see that in X3 when Pyro was like, I would even kill Charles Xavier if you let me. And that guy, he's like, no, he's done more for mutants than you'll ever know. And for a minute there, it looked like Pyro's like, you son of a bitch, I'll kill you next. But he didn't. But you kind of see that like people don't understand. But he has that like,
they're like, how can you think of him that way? He's our enemy.
Exactly. But
Magneto's like, no, he's just delusional.
Right. Exactly. And I think that that makes him a very unique individual. And he's gone through so many changes. He was a leader of Genosha. Genosha was destroyed. You think he was going to be a good guy again. Then he becomes Zorn, which was kind of a weird storyline anyway. And then he's fighting with the X-Men. You know, his character is continually evolving into something. His daughter was the reason why like a bazillion mutants lost their powers. So Magneto is my choice for number 2. And I think, I mean, there are other great comic book villains, obviously, but for me, Magneto just takes top tier.
Awesome, man. Very, very good choice. My number 2 has already been mentioned, and her name is Maleficent.
Nice.
Going back to what I said earlier about one of the things that makes a villain so memorable to me, design. She is awesome. Like green skin and this hat that just
it looks evil.
It looks evil, like evil incarnate, the evil that you're taught about at the age of 2. She is that, you know. And she turns into a dragon.
Right, she turns into a dragon.
I mean, just such a striking image. She's a badass. And I mean, okay, like if you guys have played Kingdom Hearts, she plays a huge role in that game. You know?
Because she's awesome.
Yes. For good reason, you know? So that's my number 2. Mika, what's your number 1?
All right, this surprises absolutely no one, but my number 1 is Harley Quinn.
There you go.
I didn't see this coming.
Because I feel like as a villain, she's really unique. She is about as innocent as a villain can be, I think. She's naive. She doesn't really do anything out of malice. She she does what she needs to do to get by, and she definitely falls in love with the wrong person. But she's a really great character. I feel like she's the most realistic she's just very relatable as far as villains go, I think. And I like the fact that when Joker crosses the line, she doesn't just take it, she actually just tries to kill him back, which is what makes her wonderful. But she's just the perfect blend to me of badass and completely goofy. And I like the fact that she's not sexy. Any sex appeal she has is completely accidental because she's kind of a mess. Any villain that jokes about having wedgies and makes sex jokes involving clown cars, I mean, what's not to love, right?
She has a much like her design, especially from the animated series, is awesome. You know, like just the she doesn't look like your typical villain. You know, she really looks like somebody that you would feel okay sending your kid up to buy an ice cream cone in a park.
Exactly. She's so bright and cheery and fun, and seems like she could almost be a great person, but she just kind of messes up.
It's kind of like it's kind of like she's joined the Joker because he's the only one that pays her any attention. It's like he's the only one that gives her any kind of love.
Right, which is a little tragic.
Awesome. Good pick. Hawkins, number 1, man.
Okay, my number 1 is going to go to Darth Vader.
Cute.
It may have been some of your other number 1s, but as a kid, I memorized the entire New Hope Star Wars movie. Vader was, the baddest bad guy of them all. And then all of a sudden, as you start to find out about Vader, you realize that, he's not that different than us. He's, it's kind of like the governor that we talked about earlier. This is the end product of all the things that happened to this guy.
Right.
And in the third one, of course, or I say the third one, the sixth one, I guess now, you find, you find out that there is still some good in him, and he can come back from that. So he goes from being, the worst guy ever to, but there's still, there's still enough in him for him to come back from that. So that had a really big impact on me as a kid, and let's just face it, Vader is much more of a badass than Luke could ever dream of being. So,
I want to go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Right. Of the two of them, even as a kid, I was like, man, Luke, you just need to man up, guy. Come on. I'm like, Vader is serious, man. He is going to kill you.
Yeah. Let's just worry about those power converters, for God's sakes,
Right.
man.
But, I mean, my favorite scene of all Star Wars of all time is Vader just holding up his hand and I find your lack of faith disturbing. I mean, he is not, he's not upset. He's not breaking a sweat. He's not even breathing hard. He's going to kill that guy right there.
Want you to know that as a kid, that scene totally broke my heart.
Did it really?
Really?
Wait a minute.
I saw Luke Skywalker as a kid, so I was like, why did you do that? How is he going to stab me with only one hand?
Mark cute, right?
Did you hold on a second? Did you say he wasn't breathing heavy?
Yeah, he wasn't breathing hard.
Of course not. He's got a respirator.
I'm
in his
saying
chest.
he always breathing heavy.
Okay, point taken. That was a good point. Let's say he did not get upset at all or excited.
All right.
Okay. All right. Cool. Darth Vader breathes heavy. Patrick Sykes.
Whoa,
number
before
one.
Patrick starts, does anyone have to go to the bathroom for like 20 minutes?
No.
I was just going to
No.
say, because you have time if you need to. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Oh.
Slight burn.
Nah, just breaking a sweat. Let's see here. It was a really difficult choice because, you know, like you've got Vader and villains like that, but I just had to go with the Joker because when I saw The Dark Knight, I just couldn't believe how well they reinterpreted that character.
I think a lot of people go with the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that, I mean, like, you know, when Nicholson did it in '89, nobody touched that or wanted to touch it for, what, 19 years? Until this one came out. And, you know, I got really apprehensive because it looked like, oh, it's just somebody just putting makeup on their face, you know, like Cesar Romero did to cover his mustache, you know, in '66. So I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm not sure about this. And then when you hear him talking like this, and it's not about the money, it's always about Harvey, you know, I mean, it's just, he's just so like out of his mind. I mean, it's just so crazy when you see what he's doing there, man. I mean, it's just, and you don't know what he's going to do next. And when you realize how his whole goal was not to blow the city to pieces, it wasn't to kill Batman, even though he tells him we could just do this forever. It was all about Harvey the entire time.
Yeah. He didn't want to kill Batman.
Yeah, no,
he
he's
wanted
just like,
to do this forever.
Yeah, he's just like, you know, you and me could do this forever. You know, I mean, he loved it. I mean, you could tell he loved his job, you know. He just ate it up, you know. It's just like, I love this job, you know. I mean, he's just eating it to death, chewing the scenery to death, man. I mean, and then you see in the comics, like, they took it even a step further. If it wasn't ghastly enough that the grin was so huge, his skin's all white, he cut his face off. And they put it in a jar, and he went back to the police station, and he got it out, and he strapped it to his face. And it's all pinned on there to, you know, before that whole death of a family happens, you know. I mean, that's just...
Right.
It's one of those characters you just keep reinterpreting, and just, it's got so many different ways you could see it. It's just one of the best characters ever. Real flexible.
Very flexible. Because he's crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, and he's brilliant though. But he's, you know, you know, I'm not. You know, but he is. He really is.
Right.
And you don't know where he came from.
I did love in the new movie with Heath Ledger how he told the story of his scars 30 times, and every time it was different.
But I bet
you just knew that none of those was the real story.
Yeah, but maybe there's an ounce of truth in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a callback to The Killing Joke.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's cool stuff.
Sorry, what did I miss? I just got back from the bathroom. Just kidding.
Very nice.
All right, cool. Good pick, Joker. Eric Williams, what's at the tippy top?
This was a tough one. I had to really think about it, and there was too many that really came. It wouldn't be tied for me, so I had to dig down, and I even went into the vault for this one. So, this villain, proven that most villains, even horrifying villains, they don't even need to be on screen to make their mark. And this cold-hearted bastard is named the Hunter. He shattered my childhood illusion of life and death. and it really has a special place of hatred in my heart. When he shot Bambi's mother,
oh God!
Oh, wow.
you just know that is the ultimate villain.
Really?
So, number one for me is the Hunter.
Hold on. We're gonna have to go to the panel here.
I give you 100 points for originality.
Are we gonna take the Hunter as a villain?
Yes.
Yeah, I will take that. Yeah.
My wife will not show that movie to my daughter because of that one thing of Bambi. She will not do it. Never, ever. It's like Phoebe on Friends. You know, oh no, that's the end. That's the end.
He went to a different vault.
He may be a loving family man. He may give to charity. He may be great. That cold-hearted bastard that one day said, "No, you do no longer have to live."
But during that moment in the film, he's such a dick.
That is my number one.
But unfortunately, the computer I'm at is dying, and I don't have my plug-in with me, so I have to go.
Oh no!
Oh goodness. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
That was a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
You too, man.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
All right. Now that we've had insanity by way of Bambi, Posey, help us out here. What's your number one?
Okay. So we've
Satan.
So hey, I was gonna pick Satan, but you said we couldn't pick people that.
I knew somebody on this show would be like, ultimate villain is Satan.
Break out your textbooks, folks.
I wasn't gonna say it like that.
I was calling back my church lady.
I already tried to call Hitler out.
Villain that special.
Hitler's not a villain. All right, so we've left the arcade. We've left.
Oh God.
We've left the comic book store.
This is a journey.
Now we've walked into the movie theater because number one of mine is gonna come from a movie, or at least something. Whatever. I don't care. So I kind of thought about this, and there's so many great villains in movies. Darth Vader's great, but as a child, I wasn't really scared of Darth Vader. As a child, I was scared of the old creepy lady from the Goonies.
The mom?
Whatever.
Mom.
That
was Kelly's mother?
bananas.
Kelly.
Yeah. That's the same one from Throw Mom from the Train, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Owen!
She looks. What? Ha ha ha!
I'm glad that we all know that movie. I'm going to kill the bitch.
Clang.
You know what? You guys didn't. I didn't talk in your.
Sorry, we're interrupting. Go ahead, Diva.
That's right. With WWE Diva.
Ew.
I'm one of the Bella twins. Shut your mouth.
He's selling prints, everyone, if you want to buy a Diva print.
I am, actually. I had my headshots this afternoon. That's all I have to say. I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
All right, excellent. Very unique pick, Posey. Thank you. All right, my number one pick. I went back and forth on this. 3 and 2 were easy to come up with. 1, I just couldn't think of any other villain that I thought had such a great story and went through so many changes throughout his villainship, or turned out to be such a badass. So I went with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Whatever. Wait, who said cop out?
Erwin.
Yeah, I figured. Cop out. Who? Whatever. Anyway, so, dude. Okay, so Anakin is a little bitch.
Yes.
But and I don't like those prequel movies, but Darth Vader has a really cool story. Like, he's went through a lot of changes, and he really loves his mom, and I really love my mom, and I would like to be able to choke people from across the room. Dude, I mean, come on. He's awesome. And when I was a kid, I thought, well, Boba Fett looks way cooler because he's not wearing all black and he doesn't have this lumpy ass looking suit. But you know what, dude? Now that I'm older and I have a sense of how things that are designed well look, Vader looks freaking badass, dude. He just rolls up in the place, blacked out, got a little thing on his chest,
Yeah.
breathing heavy. He pulls out a lightsaber and says, I'm a choke a bitch.
The dude walks in with a lightsaber. He's like, I don't care who all's here. I'm going to kill all y'all and take what I want.
Yeah, dude, he's Tyrese in the gym, okay? It don't mean a damn thing.
It's like the first shot. It's like the first shot of him in New Hope. I mean, all the soldiers just go back and everybody just freezes. They just don't move.
Like, okay, give him room. Give him room.
Yeah.
Dude, but the thing is this though. What I really love about Darth Vader is that he is that badass who could kill everybody, but he also has that strict moral code. You know?
Even as a bad guy, you are right. He does.
He has his convictions. He is very set in his ways, and he's very singular focus. You know what I'm saying? He's like, we've got to take over the galaxy, and he really does have like.
Well, that's the whole thing. He's kind of he's the guy that does not believe that he's wrong. He believes he's making the right choices.
Yeah,
he is completely benevolent in his own mind.
Yeah. He thinks
that's what the Emperor takes advantage of.
I will have to kill people to get this done, but once this is done, it'll be better for everybody.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
let me give you a call back to Hot Fuzz real quick. For the greater good. Okay, that's exactly what he's working towards.
Exactly.
Well, he even says it in Revenge of the Sith. When he's trying to tell Padme why are you doing all, why he's doing all this stuff. He thinks it's all the right thing to do because the Emperor's poisoned his mind.
Yeah, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, he doesn't understand what he's doing is completely wrong.
And that's a good, Revenge of the Sith is a good example of too much power too soon.
All right, let's do a recap real quick. There were two villains that were mentioned twice. Maleficent and Darth Vader.
Nice.
Who mentioned Vader besides me?
Me?
Was it you, Hawkins?
Yes, it was me.
See, look, me and you are on the same wavelength.
I agree.
Aside from that, we got the elusive man from Mass Effect. We got those damn Romulans from Star Trek TNG.
That's right, baby.
Roy Beatty from Blade Runner. Bowser from Super Mario Brothers. M. Bison, Dictator, or Vega from Street Fighter.
Or Dick for short.
Or Dick. He's a dick.
He's a dick.
The Master from Doctor Who. Iago from Othello, not from Aladdin. Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange. Magneto from X-Men. Harley Quinn from Batman. The Joker from Batman. The Hunter from Bambi. And Mrs. Fratelli from The Goonies.
That is just so original, dude. Props to Eric Williams for coming up with the Hunter. That is brilliant,
well done,
dude.
Eric.
That's the most memorable thing of the night.
I gotta say, like up until this point, the Justice League episode we did was my favorite. I think this one is now my favorite because there's been so many like little eureka moments on this episode, and it's been fun the whole time.
Man, I love it.
It's really good. Talking about bad people brings out the good in all of us.
That's right. It brings us all together.
All warm and fuzzy.
All right, so next week, guys, we are tentatively speaking about slasher horror films.
All right.
That may change. I don't know. The reason I came up with that as the topic for next week is because Your Next is coming out soon. And that's kind of a home invasion, grittier kind of horror film I'm really interested in. And the trailers, I think, look really awesome.
Yes.
Which one is
But
that?
before that, I think Posey, you said this earlier. Kick-Ass 2 is coming out next week, though, right?
I believe it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spots are playing on TV quite a bit.
We may switch it up, but tentatively, folks, tune in next week to hear about slashers. So you got your Michael Myers, you got your Jason Voorhees, all that good shit, blood, guts, fingers, and toes. And we will be back next Thursday. So, anybody got anything else they want to throw out there for anybody?
I would like to give an honorable mention villain.
Oh, go yeah, sure, by all means.
Stalin.
As long as it's not the damn Romulans.
It is. It is not a damn Romulans.
It's the Ferengians.
No, my honorable mention is from Mass Effect, and it is Saren from Mass Effect 1. He's the bad guy from Mass Effect 1. Saren is a good example of someone who thinks they're doing right. Of course, you find out later he was manipulated the whole time by the Reapers, and then at the end, when there's different options for Mass Effect. You can either just shoot him in the face and then he attacks you, or you can actually talk him into turning good, which I think is the default story that they chose to be the canon story if you go to Mass Effect 2. But once he chooses to go back and say, okay, yeah, what I'm doing is really crazy and I really shouldn't do this, then the Reapers are like, well, yeah, we're going to take over your whole body and make you be bad anyway. So I just thought that whole conversation, we're talking him into being a good guy again. You know, it's like it's reasoning with the bad guy who is beyond reason, basically.
Cool.
It was it was a really good scene.
He was really annoying in that first game.
Did you beat the first game?
I did. I beat the first one, yeah.
Nice.
I haven't even played 2 or 3.
2 is my favorite, honestly.
That's what I hear from most people that played the whole series. They say 2 is like really fantastic.
Well, I'll go ahead and say 2. In the first one, there's kind of a line that you cross because when you start, you suck. Everything kills you. And by the time you get about 2/3 of the way through the game, once you've got all your weapons upgrades and purchased all your new biotic powers, pretty much nothing can touch you anymore. So the dynamics of the game aren't really that great. It's really about the storyline. But in 2 is really well balanced throughout the whole thing. It's all pretty challenging, but not so hard that you can never beat it type of thing.
Yeah.
But you still have the story. And then in 2, there's still hope. Whereas in the third one is really balanced. It's the most fun to actually play the fight scenes. Like, it's the most fun to just go through and play. But as far as the storyline, you know, everybody's getting killed. I mean, it's just kind of depressing. So it makes sense because you are fighting for the fate of the galaxy. I mean, the things that you're fighting against have destroyed the entire galaxy countless times before. So your odds are really bad. But in the second one, you know, you get your team of people and you can bring all of them home and everything's still happy and we're still in a good place.
That sounds really fun, being depressed like that.
Being depressed like that? Yeah.
I love depression. It's the greatest.
Well, you
Don't emo, you'll be a villain.
You should finish Mass Effect. Because in Mass Effect, all 3 of the endings end kind of badly.
Aren't you selling Mass Effect?
Selling
Me?
it?
Yeah, I've got 1 and 2 for sale. If anybody wants them. Anybody wants some cheap ass game? Come get them. Oh, all right, cool, man. So, all right, we're gonna wrap this one up. I want to again thank our special guest Mika Nicole for coming in and doing the show and putting up with our shenanigans. Great little interview and talking about the baddies. Luckily, we got our whole list in before the battery on our computer went
for real.
So for reals. But yeah, next week, guys, we'll be back and we'll be talking about some more villains because we just like bad people a lot.
Yeah, man.
But you can go ahead and sign out here for my good friend Mr. Brandon Posey.
Okay, for this one, I'm going to connect my first quote with this quote. Who would have been my number 1 villain had I not chosen the old lady? Now, this looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? Let me think. Oh, yes, I remember. This is just the way your father looked before he died. And now, here's my little secret. I killed Mufasa. It connects because Jeremy Irons played, you know, Alan Goodman. Alan, what the hell's his name?
Rickman.
Thank you. brother in the third Die Hard movie. So it's like
Yeah.
it's a connection, and it's also a villain. It's like magic is what it is.
We're like the Facebook of villains tonight. The illustrious and luscious Eric Williams.
So, since we're going to leave it, also congratulations to Amanda for winning the giveaway.
Yep.
Forgot to say that.
Congrats, Amanda. I hope that you have received your tickets via email, because Zippy told me he would send them out tonight. Which is cool, because we don't even have our tickets. So
Right.
Yeah. Good for you, Amanda. The man who's never short of words to say about Romulans, Patrick Sykes.
Thank you, Clarice. Thank you.
Okay. And a man who knows a lot of words about a lot of things. That's Ben Hawkins.
Well, all right. Thanks, everybody. I do not have a quote. I've already said all my quotes. So, good night.
I got a quote. Me and you, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Ding. All right, bringing back the meatloaf.
All right.
This is my new favorite episode. I am going to edit and upload it very soon.
Hold on. Whoa, one thing.
What's up?
Go to our Facebook page. Find us on iTunes. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Like us on iTunes. Give us a rating. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is Vitamin Geek.
Yes.
That was an excellent plug.
If you guys absorbed any of that information, do it. But seriously, folks, like our Facebook page, that helps us out. If you give us a rating on iTunes, that helps us out a lot, because if we get enough ratings, that's going to boost us to the new and noteworthy page on the very front of iTunes, which is good. That would help us get a lot more downloads and, open up new opportunities and more giveaways, because you love free shit. So just do it. If you like us, if you dig it, just, show some love. And we love your feedback, so write into us. Even if we haven't asked a question, if you want to ask us something, we'll talk about it on the show. We've had lots of, randomly insightful questions from listeners that have come in just, completely haphazardly. And we've really enjoyed discussing those on the show, so I would love to hear more from you guys.
My favorite question was, if superheroes were vegetables, what would they be?
That was a great question. I mean, Aquaman. Carrot. Just there. Perfect. Upside down carrot.
What about watermelon?
Aquaman. Because it's in the water.
Right. Watermelon. It could totally work.
All right, folks. Obviously, it's getting late here because we're all going.
We're delirious.
So, I've been your host, Corey Keelan, and I wish you all the best of luck and have the most wonderful weekend ever. Come back and see us next Thursday, and for the love of God, read some damn comic books, please. Peace.
Good night, everybody. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.